The secret meeting that changed rap music and destroyed a generation.
Damn.
So it says, hello. After more than 20 years, I finally decided to tell the world what I witnessed in 1991, which I believe was one of the biggest turning points in popular music and ultimately American society. I have struggled for a long time weighing the pros and cons of making my story public, as I was reluctant to implicate the individuals who were present that day. So I've simply decided to leave out the names and all the details that may risk my personal well-being and that of those who were, like me, dragged into something they weren't ready for.
Damn.
Hold on, let me
So we gonna tell a story.
We gonna tell the story. We ain't scared.
You know what I'm saying? What they gonna do?
They after us, not just playing.
Look, that black van.
So look, so he says, between the late 80s and early 90s, I was what you may call a decision maker with one of the more established companies in the music industry. I came to Europe in the early 80s and quickly established myself in the business. The industry was different back then, since technology and media weren't accessible to people like that.
The best way to make money online in 2022 that nobody's talking about, in my humble opinion, is using
like they are today. The industry had more control over the public and had the means to influence them any way it wanted.
Right.
This may explain why in early 1991, I was invited to attend a closed-door meeting with a small group of business insiders to discuss rap music's new direction. Rap music's new direction.
Yeah.
Little did I know we would be asked to participate in one of the most unethical and destructive business practices ever seen.
Crazy.
So this was the meeting. The meeting was held at a private residence on the outskirts of Los Angeles. I remember about 25 to 30 people were being there.
Right.
Most of them familiar faces. Speaking of those I knew, we joked about the theme of the meeting, as many of us did not care for rap and failed to see the purpose of being invited to a private meeting to discuss the future of hip hop.
Talk to him.
Among the attendees was a small group of unfamiliar faces who stayed to themselves and made no attempt to socialize beyond their circle. Based on their behavior and formal appearances, they didn't seem to be from our industry. Our casual chatter was interrupted when we were asked to sign the confidentiality agreement, preventing us from publicly discussing the information presented during the meeting. Needless to say, this intrigued, in some cases, disturbed many of us. The agreement was only a page long, but very clear on matters and consequences, which stated that violating the terms would result in job termination immediately. We asked several people what this meeting was about and the reason for such secrecy, but could not find anyone who had the answers for us. A few people refused to sign and walked out. Nobody stopped them. I was tempted to follow, but curiosity got the best of me.
That's right.
A man who was part of the unfamiliar group collected all the agreements from us. So now it's going to get to the good part because the meeting about to start.
Talk to him, Jake.
It says, quickly after the meeting began, hold on one second.
Get your popcorn, y'all.
Popcorn, get your pistol. No,
for real though.
Quickly after this meeting began, one of the industry colleagues, who shall remain nameless like everybody else, thanked us for attending. He then gave the floor to a man who only introduced himself by first name and gave no other details about his personal background. I think he was the owner of the residence, but that was never confirmed. He briefly praised all of us for the success we had achieved in our industries and congratulated us for being selected as part of this small group of decision makers. At this point, I began to feel slightly uncomfortable and the strangeness of this gathering. The subject quickly changed as the speaker went on to tell us that the respective companies we represented had invested in a very profitable industry, which could become even more rewarding with our active involvement.
Damn.
He explained that the companies we worked for had invested millions into the building of privately owned prisons, and that our positions of influence in the music industry would actually impact the profitability of these investments. Then he says, I remember many of us in the group immediately looking at each other in awe and confusion. At the same time, I didn't know what a private prison was, but I wasn't the only one. Sure enough, someone asked what these prisons were and what any of this had to do with music. We were told that these prisons were built by privately owned companies who receive funding from the government based on the number of inmates.
Mm-hmm.
The more inmates, the more the government would pay these prisons.
Mm-hmm.
It was also made clear to us that since these prisons are privately owned, as they become publicly traded, we'd be able to buy shares. Most of us were taken back by this. Again, a couple of people asked what this had to do with us. At this point, my industry colleague who had first opened the meeting took the floor again and answered our questions. He told us that since our employees had become silent investors in this prison business, it was now in their interest to make sure that these prisons remain filled. Our job would be to help make this happen by making music which promote criminal behavior, rap being the music of choice. He assured us that this would be a great situation for us because rap music was becoming an increasingly profitable market for our companies. And as employees, we also be able to buy stocks in these prisons. Immediately, silence came over the room. You could have heard a pin drop. I remember looking around to make sure I wasn't dreaming and saw half of the people with dropped jaws. My daze was interrupted when someone shouted, "Is this a fucking joke?" At this point, things became chaotic.
Right.
Two of the men who were part of the unfamiliar group grabbed the man who shouted and attempted to remove him from the house. A few of us, myself included, tried to intervene. One of them pulled out a gun, and we all backed off. They separated us from the crowd, and all four of us was escorted outside. My industry colleague who opened up the meeting earlier hurried out to meet us and reminded us that we had signed an agreement and would suffer the consequences of speaking out about this publicly or even those who attended the meeting.
Damn.
I asked him, why was he involved with something so corrupt? And he replied, it's bigger than the music business and nothing we can do. And no, it's bigger than the music business and nothing we want to challenge without risking consequences. We all protested as we walked back into the house. I remember word for word the last thing he said. It's out of my hands now. Just remember you signed an agreement. He then closed the door behind him. The men rushed us to our car and actually waited until we drove off the property.
Damn.
So this meeting, bro.
Now that's a lot for a meeting right there.
Oh yeah, definitely. You know, and this person later on, he said, you know, this person actually ended up leaving the music industry after this happened. With a few years after this, he ended up leaving the music industry.
Okay.
And he said he just, like, you know, over the years, he just felt guilty because he said as he sat back and he watched these plans come to a reality
Over 2 decades.
he sat back and was like, wow, they really pulled it off.
Yeah.
They really pulled this off. He was like, they were told not to sign any more political rappers, any more rappers that had messages in their music.
Positivity.
It was all to be gangster rap music that they promoted and put out.
So if you wonder where Brand Nubians went, where Pro Righteous Teachers went, where Public Enemy went, where KRS-One went, and all sorts of groups like that was talking, even Queen Latifah and Moni Love and those, you know,
everybody.
What I'm saying? It's a back door.
Yeah, anything that was harmless, fun rap, you know, anything that had a message in it had to go.
Yeah, that's why if you even notice though,
we talk about that all the time.
Even be brief with it, you know what I'm saying? Those charms that came out like maybe 1988, 89, the African charms, those they lasted for about 2 years and they disappeared real quick. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, definitely. Now, after reading all this, you know, it actually made me feel a few different ways. The first emotion I felt was shocked because I was definitely taken back by this, just knowing the level of evil that's involved by even thinking of a plan like this. You know what I'm saying? The second emotion I felt was anger because it's not enough for them to exploit our culture and make all the money off of it. Because let's keep it real, the industry has never been.
Oh no, I think an ad's coming.
Hey, Mark, with YouTube Premium, there are no ads.
Favorable towards the artist. Never. But they're going to go beyond the artist to get the artist to influence and lure in the consumer, which they knew at the time were mainly minorities.
Yep.
In other words, keep promoting gangster rap so that the youngsters will be influenced by them, which in turn will incite them to want to act like them. And it's a very good chance they'll end up in their prison.
Yeah.
So they're getting paid twice. They're getting paid from the artists they signing, and then they're getting paid from the people that these artists influence that goes to prison trying to be like these artists.
Yeah.
So they making a killing.
A killing.
They're using the music business to promote their private prison business.
My man is right there talking that right. 1988, a man named Tom Beasley, man. That's the co-founder of the corrections for Corporation of America. That's the CCA. You know what I'm saying? Excuse my French. I'm reading this thing right there real quick. It's the CCA. So in 1988, he founded that, and this is in straight concert with the same thing. So it's like the music business. You do what you do on your side. And over here with the correction facilities, we're going to do on this side, because in 1970, there was 500 prisons. You know what I'm saying? Only 500 prisons in the United States. To this day, there's 1,700 prisons right now. That means big business. I'm talking about that then flippled over. You know what I'm saying? If flippled over is a word, because they're making a lot of money off of these things per inmate. You know what I'm saying? So getting with the same thing of the music, it all went hand in hand, and we just partying at the same time.
So us as the artists is the tool they use.
Yeah.
The music is the bait. Yep. And the young consumers are the prey. It's a cold game.
Cold game, bro.
Cold game. Then I feel sad. Sad because everything we seem to try to create, we always seem to give it away. We're always being tricked and deceived into believing that they have our best interests at hand, when clearly they never have and they never will. They never will have our best interests at hand. It's blow after blow after blow after blow.
Well, good afternoon, everybody. We have a special treat here. You guys get out your pencil and pad, because it's going to get real deep up in here. We have a very special guest here, and man, it's going to be the hip hop wisdom period, probably. We have definitely Pharaoh's Says That, and definitely have Lonzo Williams, known as the godfather of West Coast hip hop. So we're going to get into that video a little bit, but we're going to start off with some questions. If anybody has any questions in the chat, please wait till the end to give your questions, so we can give you some time. All right, so I'm going to bring our special guest up here. So we have Brother Pharaoh, and then we have Brother Lonzo. What's going on, peoples?
Right. What's up, folks?
All right. So I'm quite sure you brothers are familiar with that video and the subject matter.
Yeah. Oh, definitely.
And we're going to definitely chime into that. So I'm going to build up to that based on the questions I sent to you brothers here. So how's everybody doing today?
Great. I'm doing good.
Okay. Before we start, is there anything that you want to announce as far as things that we need to look out for in your future projects or anything? Starting with Brother Lonzo.
Well, I'm doing my Father's Day brunch this Saturday, June 18th. Got a lot of love for fathers. I was born on Father's Day back in the day, and I've always been a mentor I've been mentored by various fathers. So I just want to show them some love to my organization, the Lyrical Revolution. I also do a Father's Day golf tournament on June 20th at Lakewood Country Club. And I got my podcast, NWA Stories with Lonzo, Compton Chronicles, and my latest one is Legendary Connect with Dr. Dre from Doing TV Rap. So I'm kind of busy trying to give back, Doc.
Yes, sir. And Brother Pharaoh, what do you have to share with us?
Yeah, follow on YouTube on Pharaoh Said That. Make sure you eat better, take care of yourself. A lot of us is dying mostly from health issues. And go to www.veganintel.com. Get the easiest way to become a vegan. Start cleaning up the way you eat. Even if you don't go vegan, cut back on some of that red meat. And also follow us on Body Sculpture Challenge. Start working out, getting in shape. Because the number one thing that's killing us is heart attack, diabetes, prostate cancer, and things like that.
Okay. And Brother Pharaoh, I saw that Chicago style pizza, that vegan that you posted.
Mm-hmm.
I am very curious about that because I want to try it. So like later on, I try to get some information from you to at least get close to the experience out here in California.
Okay.
Yes, sir. Okay. So those people out there in the chat, please support the brothers. Their information is in the description box. All the links that you need is there. And if the chat needs any more information or anything additional, just hit us up with the inquiries towards the end, so we can stay on the topics with the questions. All right, so we're going to start with this. When hip hop caught on to the masses, but we're going to say what, the early '80s, just roughly, fairly. What was some of the subject matters covered? What were the highlights? Let's go with Brother Pharaoh.
Well, in the 80s, I was in Los Angeles, early 80s, late 80s. And there was a wide range of subject matters. There was a lot of easygoing stuff like Kid and Play, Kwame with the polka dots. There was a lot of lyrical stuff. There was some Black consciousness in the music. There was gangster rap too, with the Coogee raps and all of them coming into the game. So it was a wide variety.
Okay. Brother Lonzo, can you hear us?
I think he had to leave for something. Maybe something he had to do.
Okay, that's the busiest man out here, man. When I saw him, he was on the run when I first met him.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So based on those kind of things, the trends or what have you. And those people out there in the chat, please hit the like button, share and subscribe. Please hit the like button, share and subscribe. Subscribe to Brother Pharaoh Says That's channel, and subscribe to Brother Lonzo Williams' channel. You can find their information in the description box. So, we're gonna, based on, I'm gonna try to concentrate in the early '80s, like with Grandmaster Flash Furious 5, Grandmaster Cass. The Treacherous 3,
Mm-hmm.
all these different people. We're back. Oh, the world class Wrecking Crew, African Bombada, all those people. Brother Lonzo,
Yes, sir.
during those times, what were the subject matters covered in hip hop at that time?
And back then, it was all about being braggadocious, talking a bunch of stuff about what you got, lying about what you got, lying about your love life and your cars and your possessions. Hip hop had a whole different thing. It was a lot of fantasy, man. Then they had the reality, and the message, Curtis Blow, If I Rule the World, stuff like that. And then you had the later on you had Chuck D and KRS-One with with their enlightening stuff. And what I remember distinctly as a youngster in the game, that excuse me, we had various types of hip hop that was being promoted at the same time. So no matter what your style was, wherever your head was at, there was a hip hop artist in there for you, whether you were in the militant situation with the black movement. You had Public Enemy. If you were about partying, having a good time, you had World Class Wrecking Crew, Egyptian Lover, LA Dream Team. If you were on the West Coast and was doing some militant stuff, you had guys like Paris. And then you had cats like Too Short that was talking about pimping and having, other stuff. So the one thing I think that we had back then that I've noticed in the current time is that there's no variety, there's no balance. Everybody's all kill, all drugs, all alcohol, all sex, all bullshit all the time. And I think personally, I think it's another conspiracy why all the artists who had any kind of impact in the 80s, who would be right around in their 60s and maybe early 70s, most of them have died under mysterious circumstances. And I'm just a conspiracy theorist like that. I'm sorry. I hate to turn people off, but some people maybe eyes may be opened up to the potential that when guys like Michael Jackson and Prince, who were some of the baddest brothers around, who could change a whole the attitude of a whole generation with a couple of songs or an album, that's some powerful stuff, man. So these guys had to be eliminated so that they once this path was laid out, you wouldn't have anybody else that could detour what they was trying to do. And I wasn't at the meeting. I've heard about it several times. Whether or not it's true or not, I don't know. But the effects are definitely there. So I'd have to lean toward it actually happening.
It's funny because it's almost like a hip hop Willie Lynch letter. That's what I call it.
Well, you know what? It goes to show you that no matter what time of year it is, what year it is on the calendar, they find us to be disposable. Okay? Mm-hmm. Our people are disposable. And again, here's another situation. Again, my personal theory, unlike most of the other people that share this country with us, we're one of the few that have little to no connection with our motherland. Okay? So when you pick on other folks from other communities, whether it's Chinese, Israeli, or whatever, they got a motherland that backed them up. Hey, you can't do that to our people. We don't have that same luxury. Meanwhile, China is trying to impose this way in Africa and various parts of Africa. Please don't get me started.
We'll touch on those things.
Okay.
Brother Pharaoh, at what point and how deep did the drugs and the violence get into the rap game? Did it get like in the very beginning? Because I heard about words like ski and all that, the cocaine and all that during the party days. What have you heard about that stuff entering the art?
Well, when you talk about music in general, the music has always reflected the people more so than the musicians. And where a lot of people get this mixed up at is that the music is made by the same people that are in the audience. Those people that make the music come out of the audience. So when you go back to my parents' days, when you go back to 45s like this, they came close out of church. They were listening to soul music mostly. When you start getting into the 60s and 70s, you start going into more of an R&B type of sound. But it was always reflective of the people, however the people were. So like when we were young, we used to slow dance. So there was a need for slow rap. As slow dancing went away, there was no need for slow records anymore because nobody slow dances anymore. Now, the problem I have with them comparing gangster rap to the KRS Ones and stuff like that's a false narrative. Like, it's a totally false narrative. Rap, with all due respect, wasn't nothing in the 90s. Music used to be based off of what type of medium you played it on. There used to be a time we had big stereos, in the house, and everybody be playing their music. But when you start getting to the 90s, everybody start connecting their stereos to their television. And video, the music got split. So you had video music that we would watch, and then you had music you would listen to in your car. And so rap music, like if you look at BET, Rap City wasn't the biggest show. Video Soul was the biggest show. And I got a list to prove my point of how many R&B artists was out here. You got to understand that the rap in the early 90s and the late 80s, they had to compete with Michael Jackson, Whitney Houston, you know, which were much bigger stars. So you had Tamia, Ghost Town, Brandy, Johnny Gill, Aaron Hall, Jay, Jodeci, Montel Jordan, R. Kelly, En Vogue, John B., Phyllis Hyman, Faith Evans, KC, Ralph Tresvant, D'Angelo. And I can go on and on. There's 100 of these. I'm not going to name them all. But this is who they had to compete against. So we mostly listened to rap in the evening on television. But when everybody got in their car, nobody listened to rap. Everybody was listening to H-Town. Everybody was listening to Jodeci. Everybody was listening to the R&B singers, the biggest. So there never was no competition between gangster rap and KRS-One and them. KRS-One and them really fell off because to be successful in the music business in the 90s, you had to start incorporating R&B. This is why Tupac had How Do You Want It? If you didn't have like an R&B flavor for a while or New Jack Swing, you wasn't gonna get no big time play like that. So they always try to make it like gangster rap eliminated conscious music, and mind you, that the conscious music came from the audience. I was a part of that audience. I saw these in LA in the mid to late 80s. And because we were out there, that created the young people, the KRS-One. They were emulating what we were doing out in the streets. They were emulating us. As that Black conscious movement started to fade, there was nobody to emulate. There was nobody to emulate. That's how that really went away. It didn't go away because of the music. It went away because Black people fell off. Like when I was in LA in the late 80s, Black consciousness was at an all-time high. That disappeared, and it had nothing to do with the music. It had to do with all these fake woke or fake conscious people back in the day that was just doing it because it was a fad, and when they fell off, then there's no audience to entertain. And so as time goes on, the music leaves the television and goes into the car. And what you're willing to watch, you're not willing to listen to in the car. So you'll watch Nas on a video. I know I can be what I want to be. You're not going to bang that in the whip. So as the music starts going into the car, of course, it starts to alter and change. Also, the audience is changing and changing and changing. People selling dope, people hustling. The rappers are coming out of that audience, so what are they going to rap about? So this idea, I don't agree with the idea that the music changes the people. I totally disagree with that. The people change the music because the rappers come out of the same crowd that they rap into. And I
disagree.
When I'm producing right now, when I go get a young rapper in Chicago, he's coming out of that element, you know. And so what else is he going to rap about but the element that he grows up around? Now, there are some conscious rappers, but that group is smaller, so it's harder to find those type of rappers. Most rappers you're going to find are going to come from a poverty situation, because if your son going to school to be a doctor, he don't want to rap. If your daughter's going to school to be a nurse, she don't want to rap. So the kids that are trying to do other things to be successful, they don't want to rap. So who does that leave? That leaves the poor individuals in the worst neighborhoods. They want to rap. And what are they going to rap about? What they see every day.
I slightly disagree. I agree to a certain degree, but I got to disagree to another degree, Doc. Being that I am an eyewitness, I've been running nightclubs and in the music industry since 1970. Well, I was a kid going to school in Compton, going to parties. 1976, I started DJing clubs, parties all over the city. By 1979, I owned my own nightclub. Okay, I've watched several generations of people party in Compton and around various areas. The members of NWA, they rapped about what they saw other people do. Now, one member in NWA is a real hardcore gang member. I know this for a fact. They grew up in Compton. Easy was from Atlantic Drive, but he wasn't what they call on deck, hands-on type of guy. He was from Atlantic Drive. At that time, you could be from a neighborhood without being active per se. They rapped about what they saw other people do. I'm thoroughly convinced that most people in the rap game, yes, they come from neighborhoods. A lot of them don't have the same backgrounds, but because they have the ability to convey a message in a way that people can find flavorful, like Ice Cube. Ice Cube ain't from nobody's gang, ain't never been from nobody's gang, but he's a great storyteller. He's a talented brother. He adapted that format, that style, that imagery, and I remember I had to say this, tell this quick story. I was on a podcast with a young lady in Compton, in fact, and the guy introduced me as a guy that discovered Dr. Dre, Ice Cube, blah, blah, blah. And the young girl says, "Oh my God, I love Ice Cube. He's such a gangster." I said, "Baby, what gang is Ice Cube from?" Here. She said, "No, he ain't from no gang." So I said it to say this. Even today, most of the guys who claim in all this gang stuff are only in it because it's fashionable for the time. They can get quick community recognition. It don't cost no money to do this. When I was in the music game, it cost you at least $2,000 to try and make a single. By the time you went to the studio, hired a musician, did the plates, the labels, the jackets, had the records processed, got your test pressings. Before you shipped one record, you about $2,000. Easy. Nowadays, you don't need that same investment, so you can play around and say dumb stuff. Plus, in my era, you had to hop in a car, walk, catch a bus, or some means of transportation to the nearest record store, and you had to thumb through the record slots to figure out what you're gonna pay for, because you ain't got so much money. A single was $5.99. An album was maybe $10.99 to $9.99, depending on what you was getting, and it was a much bigger decision as opposed to today's artists who don't have no real investment as far as manufacturing. Everybody with a laptop, anybody with a laptop and a microphone pretty much got the studio these days. You can upload to a streaming service for no money. If you say enough stupid stuff, you have an opportunity to go viral, and people get to listen to it and enjoy it, and you make money from streams without them having to have any physical buying any physical product. So now, based on the algorithms of the music that you're making, you may not be that great of an artist, but because you fit a certain algorithm, you may be on the same streams as Lil Wayne, Drake, or any of the other so-called trap artists. So you basically riding in a car because you made music that fits a certain genre that people, they'll feed into that stream. And once they fit into that stream, you still get paid for it, whether people like it or not. So that's why you hear about people who are supposed to be these mega artists in down south or in the Midwest, that nobody in the West Coast knows who the hell they are, because you don't have the same unified exposure for a hit record or for an artist exposure. Yes, you got to spend money, and when it comes to a video, anybody with a phone literally can make a damn video and upload to YouTube what you say in your words. I think I was a part of a video just recently. Guy didn't have, all he had was one camera, and the video came out great. Okay, the production cost for doing the video is down to, I don't know, a couple $100, So you got the cost that I had to endure as an artist, 25,000 for film. We wasn't shooting videos on digital formats. Then we shooting on film. So if you made a mistake, it was costing you money to make a mistake. Now it don't cost money to make a mistake. The investment is a lot less, and people tend to go where they find the least road to resistance, and that's why I feel that so many people figure that just trap music is an easy payday, and they can do it. And yes, they come from some of these communities. You're absolutely correct. They come from these communities to some degree, but some of them are lying just to be down. A lot of them are lying just to be down. Some of them come from families, college degrees, the whole 9 yards, and they'll dumb themselves down just to sound like they are from the streets. And that's the problem I see. Nobody is stepping up. Everybody's stepping down in order to try and comply with what's getting paid right now. And that's the problem.
That's true. But one thing that they always leave out the business that nobody mentions is that the music was put out here through drug dealers in front of the street. And so when I was going with the studio with shorties, I had a 45 with me. I was selling crack. I was selling cocaine. So all my rappers was around gangster shit, just being around me. And so what a lot of people don't know is, where did this money come from for all these record labels that we know as Murder Inc., Death Row, all that money was gangster money. All that money came from drugs. All that money came from the streets. And these young people, like here in Chicago, you could go to a school with a bunch of good kids and you say, how many people seen somebody get shot? A whole bunch of hands gonna go up. How many people seen people actually dead? Hands gonna go up. So even if you're not involved with the streets, it's all around you. Like here in Chicago, it's very easy for a kid that never was in a gang to rap gangster shit because it's all around them every day, all day. If you live in Parkway Gardens, if you live on the west side, that's all that's around you. Now, when I lived in LA in like 82, I went to Hawaii. When I got back to LA, it was definitely gangster. When I was in LA, pimps used to have, in 82, pimps used to have little Nissans and shit. When I came back, cars are bouncing down the street. People got machine guns now. And definitely some money had hit the area. The Crips wasn't that big in 82, but by the time you get to 88, they was bigger than life. And when Eazy-E and them made it, they didn't make it from no record label. Eazy-E and them made it on the streets of LA. They was big in the streets. They was big at the swap meets. They was big hand to hand. I seen it with my own eyes. These record labels only find you, and like nowadays, these record labels only find you after you make it on your own. And so I remember Chief Keef and them in O-Block, they was little kids, but because they live in an area where it's a whole bunch of gangs, you get a built-in fan base. If you're a BD or you're a GD, you get 100,000 views just on that alone. Because
okay,
you're gonna get 100,000 views on that alone.
Now
on YouTube.
You just made my point right there. You just made my point. You ain't got to be with it. You just got to talk about it. Okay? And that's what I mean by people going to the trail of least resistance. When Eazy, understand me, I don't know if you know who I am or not, Doc, but when Eazy wanted to get to the swap meets, I'm the one took him there. Right. Okay? I'm the one that made the introduction with Eazy and Mr. Park at the Compton swap meet. I'm the one that made the introduction to the with Steve Yano at the Rhodium swap meet. I'm the one that had the street connection that everybody came through in order to get into the swap meets and the independent record stores. Because my last job on earth was working for a record distributor, and I kept my list, and I went back to all these people and created an underground network. We were still having fun. Right. So at first they weren't getting the nobody was buying the records. I remember we was on tour. My group, World Class Wrecking Crew, was on tour. It was World Class Wrecking Crew, Just Ice, Ice-T, NWA, and Eazy-E. and my record crew was headlining. And because we had the biggest record. When they came on stage initially, Eazy-E, they got booed.
Right.
That whole concept of gangster rap did not go over very well in the beginning until the obstacles were removed and they got a little spark in the community from Rodney King. And it was, that's when people finally understood the lyrics to F the Police. When Rodney King, the situation jumped off and the cops got away with beating Rodney King, that's when the record was around. They had got the letter from the FBI, but what really made the record resonate more in the community was when the Rodney King verdict came down and the police got away with the shit. Okay. Mm-hmm. What you're saying is absolutely true, but in LA, because in 1979, I opened my first nightclub. It was a teen nightclub, okay? Eve After Dark. I opened that club in 1979, and I tell this story all the time. In 1979, from the time I left high school in 1975 to 1979, the gang factor in Compton, which I was born and raised in, was about 10%. 10% gangbangers, 90% civilian. At one point in time in the mid to late 80s, it became more fashionable to be a gangster because everybody was trying to sell crack cocaine. You're right. They were trying to sell crack cocaine, and crack cocaine, because you had to protect your territory, made guys buy guns, made guys click up and more powerful, because up until that time, there was no drugs in gangbanging. It was little weed, little pills, but it wasn't a hood thing. Individual cats may have done certain things as a hustle. One or two guys may sold some weed. One or two guys may have had access to some pills. But when crack came into California and became a big phenomenon, now everybody that wanted some easy money or thought was easy money went to the crack business. And because the crack business got real segregated, you had the Crips had their sack, Bloods had their sack, and folks who normally would get along stopped getting along because money got involved. It wasn't so much it was territory. It was territorial, but it was money-based territory, not just hood-based territory. Right. And that's when the shit got out of control, got out of hand, and it gave everybody all the different initials, FBI, CIA, LAPD, everybody the green light to bring that shit to an end, which came with the gang injunctions and the three strikes laws, and the law that Bill Clinton put in place. Powder cocaine is rehab, crack cocaine mandatory jail. So they knew that powder cocaine was a party drug from the 80s. That's how I know. Right. It was a party drug in the 80s. In fact, I remember distinctively being a youngster in Compton, seeing on Channel 7 News, Jerry Dunphy was talking. I forgot, Channel 7, Channel 2. He had an expose on powder cocaine, how it was the party drug of the 80s, and everybody in Studio 54 was doing the shit, and it made me feel like if I didn't have none, I wasn't cool. Right. Or if I had some, I was cool. So guess what happened? As soon as I got me some money, I got cool. Right. I tried it, but I never messed with crack cocaine. I had my run with powder cocaine, like so many other cats had different things. I never got addicted to the point where I had to go to rehab. I tried it. I'm not going to tell you I didn't. I had fun with it, and I realized the economics of getting high versus having money in the bank was so drastic, I stopped getting high.
Yeah, but simple as that. Here's the point I'm making. People always say that the music influenced the neighborhood. The point I'm making is when I was in LA in the late 80s, there was no music to influence the gangs. They was all listening to R&B. When you used to go outside in LA in 86, 87, you could hear everybody car playing R&B. This is why Ice Cube used the Isley Brothers. So what influenced them if there was no gangster rap? How can they say the music is influencing the neighborhood when the neighborhood was making gangster rap and there was no gangster rap to make you make gangster rap? When I was in LA, there was no music to influence Crips or Blood.
No, it was not. No, it was not.
There was no music. There's no music in Chicago. In Chicago, last year we had almost 800 murders, but in 1974 we had 1,000, and there was no gangster rap. And so people are trying to blame the music for the ills in the community, and that's a false narrative.
Well, 1970. You had in what year you had the 1,000?
1974.
1974. Ain't that when Superfly and shit came out?
Superfly and all that shit came out, but that ain't got nothing to do with Blackstones and GDs. Gang members don't listen to none of that.
Well, you know what?
Gang members do not listen to no song to go gangbang. Well,
you know what? You're right to a certain degree, but I have to differ to a certain degree, Doc, also, because again, I'm not only I'm a club owner, I'm a DJ as well. And I've watched how the attitude of the clientele changes when the music changes. Okay, they might not be listening to gangster rap in the 70s, but they jam so had some Big Payback. They had some Superfly, of course, and it wasn't gangster rap because it wasn't rap music because it was R&B, but it had a different type of vibe to it. It wasn't Sly and the Family Stone. It wasn't Smooth Ozzy Brothers, but they had other types of music that was being listened to and being enjoyed during that time.
But once again, all of that stuff copied the streets. When Superfly came out, I already had tailor-made clothes on. We went to see Superfly because we was already like that.
How old are you?
Y'all about the same age.
I'm 64.
I'll be 65 next week.
Now,
okay.
Yeah, y'all about the same age.
The problem I have is that they don't really want to, the narrative, people don't want to recognize that everything comes from the streets. Nothing comes from the music.
I can't say nothing. I can't say nothing.
People say the music changed the streets, but my claim is that the streets changes the music. When I get a young guy in the studio, only thing he could rap about is either what he lived or what he seen. There's no way Eazy-E could talk about dope man, without there being a dope man.
Yeah, he could. Yes, he could. Yes, he could.
Not because there wouldn't be no dope man to say dope
Ice
man.
Cube, wait. Ice Cube didn't even Eazy-E didn't even write dope man. Ice Cube did. He was 15 years old when he wrote 16 when he wrote it.
Guess what? Dope man was all over the place because I was there.
Okay.
It was strawberries with their high beams on, all up and down Vermont and up and down LA. You could sit on your porch and write about crack in the late 80s. It was bigger than the music. The music is influenced by the streets. As I said, KRS-One in them, they always use the bad stuff. But what influenced Chuck D and KRS-One? We did on the streets.
The Black Panthers did.
We influenced the positive music. They got that from us, from going in the shops, from rosters in the community, from stores in the community, influenced KRS-One. Them our little babies, we influenced them. And so my only point is people are trying to blame the music as a scapegoat, but the community is creating the music. The music is not created in the community.
Hold on, I'll tell you, check this out. Okay. The music is a fact. The community is a factor. The music is a factor. I've been a distributor. I've played every role in the record industry. Every role. Made them, sold them, distributed them, the whole 9 yards. And the one thing I can say is that our community allows a lot more than anybody else does. Okay? What I mean by that is, at one time I was at Macola Records, the distributor for all things West Coast, and two old Jewish guys came out with a record with a group called Two Live Jews.
Mhm.
Before the record could hit the stores, the Anti-Defamation League sent McCullough a cease and desist letter. If this record is distributed, we will be suing everybody because bottom line is we ain't playing that shit. So if they allow them to have Two Live Jews, that was going to give Michael Jackson a green light when he dropped his record, and they made him go back in the studio, remaster the record, take the word out, do the jackets, everything, because he said one word about Jewish communities. He called them kite. He tried to kite me, and at that time I had never heard the word before in my life. I didn't know there was a word for Jewish, but a negative word for Jews. But when Michael used that one record in his record, the whole Jewish community came down on his ass, and he was the black golden boy. They made a lot of money with him, but they didn't give a damn how much money he made. They would not let him do that. We don't have the same fortitude when it comes to our people. Our people, if they making money, they don't give a damn what they say about us.
Now, real quickly, fellas, people out there, please, I hope you enjoy what you're seeing. These are two wise brothers having two different outlooks. Hit that like button, share, and subscribe. Just to put more balance in here, would you say that for like rock and roll and all these other things, were those kind of when the music was around that time, were those considered influential as well, or were they?
Yeah. Rock and roll had its influence, but rock and roll did not sit down and have a target on the back of other rock and rollers. I mean, people act like rap music was out shooting or going up against our arch rivals. Rap music, gangster rap music, only got one target, and that's other black folks.
That's because at that time black folks was targeting black folks. Rock and roll.
Black folks are still targeting black folks today.
Rock and roll came from the streets. It didn't come from the artists. Once again, rock and roll, they wouldn't have sung about LSD unless everybody was doing LSD.
Okay.
They wouldn't have sung about marijuana unless everybody was already doing marijuana. And I went to see Pink Floyd and all of them, and when they came, the audience, we was already like them. We was going to see what we was already like. They did not, you got your weed when you get there. They don't make you smoke no weed. No guy make no record to make you smoke weed. You smoke weed, and then they make a record about weed. The music comes from the people.
I'll tell you what.
Let me tell you why they scapegoat the music. Because black folks don't want to fix the people. Black folks don't want to deal with the community. So
I tell you what. I tell you what I'm gonna do. But you're right. You're right to a certain. You're absolutely. You're right.
Young drill rappers don't even listen to music. They play video games all day and they stand outside all day and do what they do. They don't listen to music like that.
Wait. You're right. But what happens is, whatever happens in the streets, it gets amplified by the industry. It may be something small. It may be something mediocre in the hood, but once the industry get hold to it, they blow it up to another level. It gets blown up to another level. So shit that was small, we had Pyru since 1972. Okay, now they ain't gone global. You got artists who never gangbanged a day in their life, but once they got some money, felt they had to get affiliated with somebody, said blue or red, just to survive. That was never a factor back in the day. But because people have made that situation has not only become it's become more of a glorified fantasy to a certain degree, because we got folks on YouTube, Clubhouse, every place else glorifying this and make it seem like it's the thing to do. In 2022, we got folks right now that's making gangbanging seem like, oh, I miss the 80s. I want to be a gangster today. And that's some bullshit.
But here goes, I just went to see Little Dirk, and here goes the false narrative. My daughter is in school for medical. She grew up in O Block. She went to school with Chief Keef's daughter. Chief Keef was her favorite rapper. When I went to see Dirk, none of them kids gonna do what Dirk's saying. I didn't do nothing what these guys were saying. I didn't go put on weird clothes like Earth, Wind, and Fire. They overhyping it, making it like this music is doing so much when it's not. Nobody, typically, 80% of the people that listen to that music don't do a damn thing they say. Everybody here in Chicago that's gangbanging, they like that for real. They was gonna do that with or without the music. I've been listening to music my whole life. I never tried to do what the hell they said. It was something to listen to, have a good time. And this guy might say, go to the right, and the next record say, go to the left. And I can't go to the right and the left. I just listen to it and keep moving. And they're trying to paint this narrative that this music is ruining the Black community, when the reality is the economics in the community that's ruining the community. The fact we don't have stores, we don't have businesses, we can't hire these youth.
How can wait? Answer me a question. How can you have a store in the community if the store owners being targeted for robbery and everything else? I mean,
and why is the store owner being targeted? He's being targeted because when I go to jail and get out and I do 5 years, they hold that over my head. I pay my debt to society. I get out, I can't get an apartment, I can't get a job or nothing. Now, if I pay my debt to society, why am I not got a clean record? How do you expect a bunch of Black men that have criminal records to not turn to crime? You won't.
You know what? Hold on. One of my other jobs that I do right to this day, I work with reentry programs. Okay. They in California, I don't know about no place else. But I know for a fact in California, if you go to jail, they got more goddamn programs for you than you do to keep a nigga, put you back in the mix than they do for keeping you getting in the mix in the first place. And I've been bitching about this for the.
Yeah, but
hold on.
The parole officer sweating them. Hold on, the parole officer sweating them. And when you walk out that county jail, you ain't got no 10 days of getting no food. You ain't got no 20 days of getting no apartment. You got to find somewhere to live now.
Again, what I'm saying is, hold on. I'm telling you what I know about. I don't know about Chicago, but I know in LA, I work with organizations right now. When folks touch down, they got places for them to stay. They got job opportunities. They training them the whole 9 yards. As they even have. I've been to them myself at Compton College, where they have various organizations with various programs to help people get back on their feet if they've been incarcerated. With everything from food, housing, employment, the whole 9 yards. I'm doing another program on June the 21st right here at Magic Johnson Park in Los Angeles. It's sponsored by a bunch of organizations that are working with and specifically designed to help people that's been incarcerated, male, female, felonies or misdemeanors, get back on their feet. So I understand what you're saying. I don't know about Chicago, but in LA, they got tons of programs to help you. They got more programs to get you on your feet if you've been to jail than they do to keep you from going to jail in the first place. And that's something I've been bitching about for the past 5 years.
America got more Black men in prison than some countries have people. And there ain't enough programs for all them people. And then on top of that, let's talk about the money. I can go out here and dudes are selling drugs or dudes is pimping or whatever, got all kind of nice cars. But why when I go up to the grade school, why the teachers don't have nice cars? Why the teachers don't got Benzes and stuff? How you gonna influence my son to go straight when he can go out here and make $300-400 a day and you want to pay him minimum wage that can't even pay his rent? The average jobs that they offering you when you get out of jail, that can't even pay your rent no more. Rent is up, a 1-bedroom in Chicago is like $1,600-1,700.
It's $2,000 in LA.
And you can't, the job they offer you won't pay that. It won't pay that.
It all depends on what you're doing.
But you come out of jail, where you gonna get this mentality? When you walk out,
if you
nobody can direct you anywhere.
I understand what you're saying, Doc. But
in the black community, our problem is that we don't control how the justice system deal with our people, because you can't even get an apartment on your own. You might have to go through a program, but if you got a record, you can't drive Uber, you can't drive Lyft, you can't do DoorDash, you can't do none of these things if you got.
But you can drive. You can drive a diesel truck.
Now, if you got, look how much time that takes.
Think about most of the guys I know, most of the programs that I work with got truck driving schools that get you driving up by what, 4 or 5 weeks? Get you qualified to get a job in 4 or 5 weeks.
5 weeks after getting our job, be dead. Look, when you look at our community, we do not have what it takes to take care of our own people. When you go to the gas station, it's Arabs. When you go to the little stores in the neighborhood, it's Indians and stuff like that. We don't have what it takes. As a matter of fact, we have white men on police department targeting young black youth to lock you up, to take away your right to vote, to throw you off, to take you out the family. So if your daddy's in jail, who gonna raise the baby? Yeah, the baby rapping. Yeah, the baby rapping. Where's daddy at? His daddy locked up, granddaddy locked up. And so I see all these conscious people, they attack the rap. They attack the rap. Nobody's attacking the justice system. Nobody's attacking the police department. Nobody's talking about the stores in our community. You say the Jewish community. Okay, go in the Jewish community and show me a bunch of Chinese and Arabs at the gas station.
Well, check this out. You're absolutely correct. And my question is, you know damn well they only here for one reason, and that's to get your money. Right. You ain't got to buy it from them. You stop buying, they stop coming.
Listen.
But somebody got to be in position. Somebody got to be in position to either finance or take over that business.
And
you cannot.
And guess what? Some history. When the whites was gangsters, they left them alone. They got into the trucking. They got into concrete. They opened up all these unions from gangster shit. All of these businesses is from crime. When the black man was doing crime, they didn't allow him to go legal. They kicked his door in. They confiscated all the money, and they left us broke. Everything in this country is built from the same shit we was doing. It ain't nothing here legitimate. All of them was gangsters.
You're absolutely correct.
But when we did it, what happened? We were overly criminalized, targeted, and everything that brothers was trying to build to get out the gang got taken away from them. All the beauty shops, all the stores, all that stuff got closed and left the neighborhood destitute. That's what really happened. And so
also after the 6th in LA, I can't speak about no place else but LA. All I know is LA. After the 65 riots, the Jews left the black community. They left Compton. They left LA. They gone. Okay. It was a lot of black businesses here. A lot of black business, laundromats, grocery stores, all type of liquor stores. We had all kinds of stuff in the community. When the crack came in the 80s, those people got targeted by us, either through the crackheads or the gangsters. Okay, the gangsters ran a lot of people out of the community. That gangbanging shit, I don't give a damn what nobody say. That shit is a pariah on the community, and they only prey on us. They don't prey on the Koreans. They don't fuck with the Koreans. They fuck with us. They don't mess with the Koreans. Koreans got their plexiglass around that shit, and everything behind that plexiglass is of value. Anything else, them diapers, them potato chips, them cupcakes, you can have that shit. You won't get the Hennessy, you won't get the cigarettes, you won't get none of the alcohol back there. But we still will walk our ass up in there and buy that shit. And we'll buy it. They'll take their ass back to Koreatown, do what they're gonna do, and gonna put a dime back in the community. But we complaining, but we still support them. We complaining, but we still support them. As long as we support them, and long as we complaining and still supporting, they don't give a damn.
Right.
You can't go nowhere on Wilshire and find a black business doing nothing.
That's the reason for that. Because when Africans and them come from here, they come from an environment where they have their own stores and stuff. Black people, we come from an environment where we go beg for a job. We don't come from an environment opening stores like Jamaicans. Like my Jamaican brothers, They come from an environment where you come here and open your own store. We come from an environment where you go beg somebody for a job. That's our fault. We put
Hold on.
money in our kids to school.
Wait. When we had the money in the 80s and 90s, we fucked it off. We bought rims, we bought chains, we bought watches, and every rapper right now with money, most of them, not every, I'm sorry, I can't say every, a lot of your rappers right now, they only show the flossy part of their careers. They don't show you the hamburger stands, the wing stops that they own. Only one talking about that stuff that I know of is E40 and Rick Ross.
Right.
Okay, talk about the actual businesses that they own. Everybody else show you how many whips they got, how many watches they got, which I think is the dumbest shit in the world, but that's my personal opinion. How much their Jordans cost, and they don't ever show you the real side of survival. They show you the flashy side of this shit, so that all the kids want is the icing. They don't want the cake.
Right.
You don't see the cake. The cake is when you own your publishing, when you own a business. So when that limelight go off of your ass, you can still eat the same way you was eating. But when we had the money back in the 80s, we took penitentiary chances from 6 o'clock to 6 o'clock in the morning, 6 o'clock in the evening, to 6 in the morning, shooting at each other, selling dope, just to run and get the money to the swap meets.
Well, you know what? My father come from Alabama. He was born in 1931. And he used to be out there helping my grandfather picking cotton and stuff like that. And he always seen them white men ride by in the Roadmaster Buick. And when my father came to Chicago, all he wanted was a Roadmaster Buick or a Cadillac. Because when you deprive of people, you make them socially retarded. You can see Fat Joe licking the bottom of his tennis shoes because of all them years going to school with no shoes. So when we did start to get the money, it would take a little while. Then we would get into business. But the police kicked the doors open before black people could elevate. If you look at the time when we took the most raids and the most thing, that was the time when we was beginning to wake up and say, okay, I got enough cars and stuff. Let me open a beauty shop and stuff like that. These police come into the neighborhood and built all these courthouses from money they confiscated from us. They built it. It used to be
Chicago.
It used to be one courthouse. Now there's courthouses everywhere. If I'm selling heroin, and heroin, you say, is killing the community, it's killing the kids, and the police kick my door down and take the heroin money and buy police cars, ain't those police cars bought with drug money?
But when the police get the money, it ain't drug money anymore. It's not confiscated money. I hear what you're saying. But that'll never flip over. Trust me. I ain't gonna never flip. I hear what you're saying. You got a great point.
The Italians flipped it over. John Kennedy's father and Robert Kennedy, their daddy was a bootlegger.
Yes, sir.
And they ended up president. So they never let us take the same routes that they all took. They all went illegal and turned to legal. We went illegal and went to prison.
We went illegal, but we didn't get unified in no way, form, or fashion. It was easy to get us, man. We always been splintered. Whether it be the church, the gangs, ain't no numbers. You can't expect.
Wait.
The Black Panthers, the perfect example was the Black Panthers. When they figured out what the Black Panthers, what made them tick, they found a way to break them up. Black Panthers, they played head games with the Black Panthers, the us, and anybody else that was for black folks. They played games with their heads and got them to fight each other and got them to destroy each other. Meanwhile, then once they get one or two, once they get them to weaken themselves, all they gotta do is take out one motherfucker. And it's a wrap. We're the easiest people in the world to pick off because we buy into the bullshit too easy.
It's easier to be unified when you recognize that you all come from somewhere. It's easier for the Italians. It's easier for the Nigerians.
Right.
It's easier for the Jamaicans. For us as African Americans, we don't have that link to where we come from. We don't have that link from the beginning. We're not the same as Germans. We're not the same as Irish. Black people in America, we have the most unique experience in America. And so that natural ability, because my Jamaicans ask me all the time, y'all don't open up stores. Why y'all don't we do, because we not maker. We don't come from anywhere where we can reflect. We can't reflect on how we used to be. Irish can reflect on what it was like in Ireland. Italians can reflect on what it was like in Italy. Jewish people can reflect on what it was like. Black people, we the only people here that's in the dark. So yes, Koreans can come here and do better because they can reflect on Korea. And so we need special needs. It takes a special effort for us to get. And we never gonna get there unless we take over our police departments and police ourselves.
What? Wait. Then you got to convince folks that being a cop is a good thing for your own community. We done told ourselves we can't be police. So how we gonna take on the police department? Meanwhile, if you look at the sheriff department, don't look like us.
Right, but then what you can teach the youth, you can't necessarily teach the people that's already here. Most of the things we can't give up on because we can bring these things to the next generation. It's kind of hard to bring things to the past generation. But the young kids come up, they will adapt some of the things you're saying, and that's the thing. But my main thing with the music, I just don't like the way they trying to blame the music and the record label.
Well, wait. Ask me a question. Have you ever heard a trap music song that had anything good to say outside of shaking some ass, selling some dope, shooting another brother? I don't understand why nobody sees a problem with that. Because for me, if a music gangster rap ain't never shot nothing but other black folks. We sit there, we niggas shoot this nigga, shoot that nigga. If a white boy was making the same record about shooting black folks, we'd have a goddamn fit. But as long as they shooting black folks, nobody don't give a damn.
Here go the thing. I got an artist, my youngest son. He don't rap none of that stuff. Don't nobody want to hear what he's saying?
I'm giving it. You know what? Hold on. Stop. We can't keep using that as a goddamn excuse. We can't keep using the fact that if he ain't talking about killing other black folks, nobody want to hear his music. That's some bullshit.
They don't want to hear.
Oh man, come on, dude. He needs another audience.
So would you say that? Okay, now obviously
he needs another audience. If an artist is still telling you in 2022 with over 200 rappers getting killed last year alone, and they're still falling like flies this year on a daily basis, youngsters is dying on a daily basis from all this negative influence. I'm not saying it's one thing, but it damn sure is an influence when you got a whole musical genre dedicated to the annihilation of other black folks. If a white boy or a Mexican was saying the same damn shit, we'd all be out here marching. But because it's black folks doing it, we turn a blind eye. That don't make no sense.
What I'm saying is that they come up out of their audience, and that's what their audience want to hear.
He need to find another job then. He should be doing that. Why is it the only thing that's paying us money is our own self-degradation? Why is that the only thing we want to hear?
But who do you change? The artist or the audience?
If one don't change, the other ain't gonna change.
The audience got to change.
You'd be surprised. You might be surprised to find out who may want a relief from that bullshit. I know the artists that I talk to, the kids that I deal with, want a relief from that shit, but it ain't cool yet. And people only go with what's cool.
When I went to see Dirk, there was a whole bunch of college kids there wanting to hear that.
That don't mean nothing. White folks love watching us make a fool out of ourselves. We've been doing that shit for decades. Okay? Whatever, white people buy more of that shit than anybody else. Okay? They buy ain't enough of us in this country to get these rappers the kind of money they're getting. Okay? A lot of that is being bought by white folks who doing it, buying it just to see the fact that, damn, he wearing pink braids and huh?
Black people will attack the artists, but won't check the audience.
I'll check all of them. Fuck them all. Okay.
Audience.
Check them all. Okay.
The audience is getting away with it.
The audience is getting away with it because we tell them it's cool. The artist determines what's cool in the streets.
Check this out. I have black people constantly complain about the music. The first thing I ask them in 2022, how much money are they putting behind the artist? When I was a kid, you could play trumpet, trombone, let your kid play a trombone in an apartment building, the neighbor's gonna complain. Black folks don't support their youth. When it comes
black
to
folks will complain until his ass blow up.
No money. Black people don't put no money in the music industry like you used to do. We don't got black people like
No. Nobody puts music into. Well, understand this, Doc. Check this out. I don't know about Chicago, but I know about Compton. And in Compton, it was several things we had access to in an early age in the CPT. We learned how to play instruments. We learned how to use hand tools, okay? They purposely took all that shit out of the school. So if you want to be a musician, you got to take your ass to the Musicians Institute in Hollywood, where it's 40, 50 grand a year to go to school at. Okay. If you want to learn how to use some hand tools, work on a car, take your ass down to IEU.
Hold on, right there. If you're a black community and you say you let them take music out to school, how could you complain about the artists if the black community is so weak that we let them? See, that's my point. You said that we let them take music out to school.
The school district should out of school.
That's
okay.
Right there.
Well, the problem is if you get more attention for a release of a pair of Jordans versus a PTA meeting, you're gonna have them kind of problems. If people are more enthused about the latest Jordans as opposed to going to a PTA meeting and fighting against that shit, we're gonna have this problem forever.
Let me tell you something. I have took young men in the studio. Parents won't put a quarter in them. I take them in, they start making some music, they start making some noise. The parents start telling them I'm trying to cheat them. These are parents that won't put 5 cents into their children. Not a quarter.
You ain't said nothing but something to do. I'm in the same situation. I'm sitting in the studio right now.
This the problem. The problem ain't the music. The problem is the community. The community's not organized.
We got too many. Hold on. We got too many brothers that's in a position to make some decisions that want artists. They want their money out so fast. Forget how good you can sing. Forget whatever lyrics you got right there. Take them lyrics and do some of this other shit so we can get our money out of this shit. So a cat that come in square with some talent, he might not get the same attention because he ain't saying. Everybody wants to take time to nurture an artist. Everybody wants to be an overnight success as opposed to nurturing somebody and getting them out there and finding the audience for them. Everybody want to go with the shortcut. Oh, he talk about selling dope, slinging some pussy, slinging some drugs. He can go over here and get paid tomorrow as opposed to waiting 6 months or maybe a year or two to be over here to have longevity.
Check this out. All of the older people that complain about the music today, when music switched from this to the KRS-One, them same older people complained about that. Black folks didn't like rap. They said it was garbage. They said they were stealing other people's music. They said it was hoopity, hoppity, hoopity. And it was the same amount of hate into rap when it
No. See, that was a different situation. That's because people grab classic shit and turn it into hip hop. No, I heard the argument 1,000 times.
Older people say the music don't sound like nothing, but you got to have young ears. To the kids, they hear the talent. A lot of older people say there's no talent.
Look, man, if I fed somebody dirty water every goddamn day, they would think that shit is fantastic. If I fed somebody shit every day on a spoon, they would love it. They don't know the difference.
Rappers are very talented.
Just half of them, you need a goddamn interpreter. You understand what they saying.
Not if you
most of them, you need a fucking interpreter to understand what they saying.
Not if you young.
Yeah, so let's get that.
No, not if
how is it? Wait. Hold on. I gotta say this before we go. You got a lot of artists come out every day. Most of these artists got a 6-month lifespan on musically. Most of these cats you won't see a year from now. So that should be hot for a minute. If they don't get killed, you will never hear from them again. Whatever happened to Sage and Gemini? I remember when Shaking Like a Red Nose was the hottest thing in the world. You can't find this dude again. This music nowadays is so disposable. It's like toilet paper. You wipe your ass with it, but you don't have it, you gotta have it.
If
As soon as you use it, it's gone.
If James Brown came out today under Streaming the Needs, he would last the same amount of time. He had no lyrics.
No way. No
He
way.
had
No way.
lyrics. He had no lyrics. He didn't say nothing but Papa don't take no mess. And
I tell you what though. I tell you what though. I tell you what. James Brown didn't have. He wasn't the most lyric. He wasn't the lyricist, but he was a funky, had a groove ass dude. I'm a DJ. I'm a DJ. You talk. Hold on. You talking to the wrong person now. I got 40 years behind turntables, 6 nightclubs.
You can last longer in music with albums and records than you can with streaming.
Okay, now you agreeing with me.
But that's not the artist's fault, that's the streaming.
No, I tell you what.
You can listen to more music today than you could back here.
Right.
So then you got more competition. These artists didn't have as much competition as artists today.
Right, you're right.
So that's why I'm only here for.
But again, we're the only ones that find it necessary to focus on self-degradation to be successful. That's my issue. The only thing you telling me of all the white artists got the same problem. Country and Western got the same problem, but we're the only ones take the kill a nigga shortcut and kill our own people, rape our own women, drug our own women, to drug our women to sell records, sell music. We sell the stream music. Country Western ain't got this. If you had more talent, just because you got lips don't give you talent. That's bottom line.
People are taking a few artists and trying to paint like Drake and all these artists are saying that was also a fake narrative. If you listen to the radio, very few songs are actually saying what these anti-youth is saying. The records ain't saying kill like that. If you in Chicago and you make kill drill music, you don't go nowhere. You have to learn how to rap about your girl leaving you and stuff like that to be a star.
I don't know about drill. I don't mess with drill. I don't know about drill music.
There's a lot of drill rappers in Chicago right now cannot make it. They have to clean it up to get to the level.
Yeah. Somebody, I think a radio station just banned that shit if I am mistaken. I just saw that in the news where a radio station or somebody is banning drill music.
The biggest music out is the music talking about your girl. The biggest music is not killer music. That's all false. From some old people.
No. Oh, it may be false this week, but for the past 6 years, that's all these niggas talked about.
No, it ain't. That's false. The big songs, the Futures, the Drakes, the Kanyes are the biggest artists. Facts.
So okay. Go ahead, man.
Let's move forward because basically, no matter what you brothers say, you're not going to have this. You're not going to say the same stuff, right? So we had to give y'all the perspective on that. Those people out there, please hit that like button, share, subscribe. So I'm gonna skip some of my questions, but I'm gonna go further into the shootings, right? Because that's very important, and then it'll tie into the conversation that you brothers were having. And just for those people out there, I'm the young dude, so I had to shut my mouth while grown folks are talking. So I had to shut up. I had to let the grown-ups speak. Now, here, I'm it sounds like a chicken or the egg conversation that most people are sitting there in the chat observing or what have you. But why are so many of our rappers getting killed in alarming rates? They're not dying of cancer and all. They get shot. What's going on? Anybody want to jump into that?
I believe
they're getting shot because that's where they come from. And then you got more rappers. You can rap now and be a GD. You can rap now and be a BD. You can be in a gang war and start rapping. So they still outside. They still in the streets. And they're affiliated. And so you never had that back in the day. Back in the day, you had to spend so much money. We recorded on 2-inch. Everything was analog. Everything had to be cleaned up and dealt with to go in the studio. Now, these kids really living that life. They out there and they're in danger. So let's say I'm 15 years old and I'm out here gangbanging and I got enemies. Now I want to change my life around and I want to start rapping. The streets, they're not giving me no pass out here in these streets because I'm trying to clean up my life and rap and trying to go straight. The ops are still at me. They still want to kill me. I'm still going to be GD. I don't care how big I get. I don't care how much gang violence I don't do. I don't care how much I even clean my music up. As far as the BDs are concerned, I'm still GD. And they still want me dead. And this is why so many are dying, because now more people can be rappers. Now
they need to get a job then. They might want to find another lifestyle, because you can't be wanted by the world and be out in the street and expect nobody to. Because wait, hold on. You got guys. You already in a situation where you got ops. Right. You get some success. First thing you do is go back to the hood, where your ops are familiar with your hood. Plus, because your ass come in the hood, flossing, chains, gold, whatever the case may be, you got undercover ops that was on your team that's just straight up jealous of your ass. So now you're going back to the hood to floss. You basically are wearing a goddamn
Target
pork chop suit in a lion's cage and wonder why the lions get you. You got hyenas and lions on your ass, but you wearing a pork chop suit because anybody told you that you just can't go back to the hood once you do that kind of shit, man. You got to sit your ass down someplace and go out to the suburbs and chill, maybe donate some money, create an organization or something. You just can't come back to the hood and go back on the corner and hang with the boys, because it ain't gonna be that kind of party. But because so many people talk you into thinking that you losing your edge because you don't come back to the hood, well, they can't set your ass up unless you come back to the hood.
Like Nipsey Hussle.
Hey man, hey, there's always a possible scenario, and he's the perfect example though. It's really hard in today's climate of hip hop. It's an oxymoron to try and come up and stay down. It ain't worked for nobody yet. It ain't worked for Suge. It didn't work for Tupac. It didn't work for Biggie. It didn't work for Nipsey.
Well, a lot of times when they say
it didn't work for Nipsey, and it's not working for other guys either. I mean, go ahead.
The reason the numbers is so big is because a lot of them ain't got out the hood yet. And so this way the false narrative come and they say, well, so many rappers, why they don't get out the hood? Only a fourth of them eventually get enough money to get out of the hood.
If you got money for a Rolex, you got money to get out of the hood.
Fake Rolex.
You got money for a Rolex, you got fake Rolex. Huh?
He said fake Rolex.
Well, hey man, you know what? You need to realign your values, because you put yourself in a position. If you walk into a lion's cage with pork chop draws, somebody gonna eat your ass.
Go back to what I said. If I got an artist out here, like when I got into the game and I started putting artists out, Puffy and them had spent so much money on their artists that if you was a poor working man, you couldn't even get in the music business, because artists automatically think you're gonna buy everybody a bunch of gold chains and Bentleys and Benzes. So it's not even easy for a working man or a decent man to put music out, because the image is that a rapper gotta have all this stuff. So when these rappers in the hood, they not gonna get out the hood unless they floss. They ain't gonna never be able to move in no mansion if they don't come out flossing. If your artist ain't shining, your artist is going nowhere nowadays.
If your artist is shining too hard, he ain't gonna live long.
But that's the catch-22.
Well, man, you know what? That's the problem right there. We trying to fall into a false narrative in the first place. We trying to believe in Santa Claus, knowing there ain't no Santa Claus in the first place, but you want to get mad at the Easter Bunny, pretending you ain't no Santa Claus. Okay, there ain't no Santa Claus.
If your daddy don't buy you nothing for Christmas, you got to believe in Santa Claus. So what's going on is the black community ain't doing shit. The black community ain't doing nothing in the black neighborhood. They ain't doing nothing. When you walk your ass out of Cook County Jail, it's an empty damn street. There ain't no trucks out there. There ain't no buses talking about come in and get a job and none of that.
I don't know about that.
You walk out, when you in the hood and you a black man out here, you out here by yourself. You in the world by yourself. And if you don't got money for a phone, you can't even see the opportunities if you ain't got no internet money. Here in Chicago, people got to go to the library to try to apply for a job because they ain't got no internet. If you don't got no internet or no phone, you can't even get a job. Now, where you going to get the money for the internet and the phone? And this is the thing. Black people don't want to sit down and have these type of conversations. Our neighborhood is broke, starving, and gangbanging. We absolutely broke. They made fun out of the Obama phones, but those Obama phones help people get jobs, because how can you get a job you ain't got no callback number? So we in a catch-22, and there's more people not rapping than rapping. So if the community's messed up, it seems to me you're going to blame these people that don't rap.
Wait a minute. Hold on. Let me ask you a question there. Again, I'm from Compton. I've dealt with Crips and Bloods. I deal with them all the time. I'm not active on either side of the fence, right. But I know people from both sides of the fence. How is it that if we keep the hood hot with our own internal problems, murders on top of murders, how is it that somebody's supposed to invest into a community that is destroying itself? And if you don't care about your own people, why would you care about an outsider? Because the outsider probably ain't gonna look like you. Meanwhile, they're coming in with gentrification on a regular basis, and only a matter of time before all these impoverished cities become gentrified, and you got another problem because folks can't wait to sell grandmama and grandmama house to the first bidder and move to the suburbs. I don't know, but I'm stuck.
Well, you know, I lived in O Block, and I used to see 3 generations with no education. And the mayor say, where the parents at? The parents ain't got no education either. So it's just black folks don't want to face the reality how far we in the hole. We don't realize how far we in the hole, how bad it really is. That these kids growing up under their mother that's uneducated, and the grandmama lived there, and none of them is educated. Nobody, no education, and nobody nowhere around to do anything to try to do something for this situation. Nobody comes to the black community to try to do anything for black people, unless it's Thanksgiving, they come give out turkeys or something. But pretty much if you live in a poor black community, you're just desolate. You don't got nobody to speak for you or nothing. If all these people that were speaking against rap music would get out their funky asses and put their money together, maybe we could fix the situation. But they all blaming the rappers, but they not doing shit.
But
we don't have no coalition, national coalition to help black people. None.
Okay, you're right. There is no coalition. If we had a coalition for black people, and the first thing we said, we're gonna stop calling each other niggas, we spent the first 5 years fighting each other.
No, because that wouldn't be the first thing that we'll do. The first thing we'll do is make sure that when our young men get out of jail, time is served. If I do a crime and you give me 7 years, then it's 7 years, not 7 years, and I get out and I got to go get my cases expunged and all of that. That my record should stay private for a judge to see, but no employer is supposed to see that. Nobody getting an apartment from me is supposed to see that. If I paid my debt to society. If I paid my debt to society, why I got a record?
Now,
you got black men out here, they can't get no apartment. They got to live with their baby mama. But everybody want to say he a bum living with his baby mama. She got to apply for the apartment because if you put my name on there, we ain't getting it. And it ain't no black people going to help me get it either. That's a fact. So that's what we would start at, the justice system. If you do your 5 years, that's it.
I understand that. But it ain't nothing to be said for self-respect.
How you going to teach somebody that ain't had no father and ain't been taught nothing self-respect? That's something. Well,
we got to teach. At some point in time, we got to realize where we got to find some place to change the narrative from within so we can move forward. We can't keep on doing the same shit and expect a different change. We can't keep calling women. We can't keep on putting our sisters down. And yes, I know they got some bitches, they got some hoes out there, but all of them can't be bitches and hoes to the world. Everybody can't be a dirty nigga to everybody. At some point in time, we got to find some pride within ourselves so we can start trying to move up. Maybe I'm wrong.
Only the ones that know that, are not organized. The brothers that know that, they not organized. I grew up with a father.
I did too.
I feel it's unfair for me to judge young dudes that ain't had no father. I'm out of line. I'm expecting him to do something positive. Let me tell you something. I was in the county jail. There was a young brother there who was giving me hard times. I was in there for 4 months. I beat the case. But the point is, it was a young brother who was giving me a hard time. He didn't want to do what he's supposed to do, so we think we got to beat him up. One of the OGs said, Pharaoh, leave him alone. I said, why? Say his daddy's in prison, and his daddy's cellmate is his granddad. So this little boy, he in the county jail, his granddaddy and his daddy is cellmates. What the hell could he ever know? What chance he got?
How many situations like that, though?
A lot of them. A lot of them. These kids can't read. These brothers read at the 3rd grade level, 2nd grade level. They got no education. They can't even talk or a lot of times when you look at social media, you see them using all abbreviation. That's because they can't write for real. They can't write. That's why they write it the way it sounds. That's why they write bruh. They can't spell brother. Like, but the people that's complaining, they ain't doing shit.
Well, if them brothers is rapping, they in the wrong career.
Bro, if me and you got together, real shit, and we wanted to fix this situation, you know no niggas will help us, right?
Right.
That's the problem.
Right.
The problem is, we believe we fix the situation.
Wait. Hold on. I'm going to say this right here. Niggas ain't going to help us, but black folks would.
Black folks ain't going to help us.
Black folks would.
No, they wouldn't.
If the black folks wouldn't help us, because they was niggas. They were undercover niggas.
Well, it's a whole bunch of niggas and it ain't no black folks.
Okay, that's more black folks. It's more black folks than you realize.
Because if you try to do, you would find out that black folks too busy going on vacations, too busy going eating their barbecue and their chicken, too busy doing their personal family thing. I'm just trying to do me and forget y'all. And they not gonna set no time aside to do nothing for the community on a national level.
Well, it's first of all, it takes money to make that happen. The people that should be doing it is ones we put the most faith in that ain't gonna do a goddamn thing. And that's most of your churches.
The churches ain't no different than the community.
What I'm saying is, if in order for us to make a move, the people that they go to for their salvation and their reverence and their whatever you want to call it, they praise and worship, need to be the ones that need to be brought together first.
And that's my point. All I'm saying, that the same people that make the music, the same people that don't want to help, is the same audience. The same pastor that don't want to do nothing is exactly like the goddamn congregation. They're all the same.
So let me ask you brothers this real quickly. People out there, please hit that like button, share and subscribe. Subscribe to Brother Pharaoh's channel and Brother Lonzo's channel. It's in the description box. In the midst of all these shootings, every now and then I hear people talk about this, but where does the music industry turn out when it comes to the death of these brothers after they get shot? I mean, does the music industry have an insurance policy? Is it attached to their contract? What's happening with that? Because this is a long pattern of shootings.
I'll tell you what's happening with that. It's a bunch of black people that don't know nothing, that ain't involved with the youth, and they believe that people got record deals. You don't need no damn record deal no more. You don't need no record deal. You can call yourself Boo Boo Records. You can make a logo. You can get on Instagram. You can post your shit on YouTube. And then if you want a record label today, and I send a shorty to get a record label, the first thing they're gonna ask him, how many YouTube followers he got, how many followers he got on Instagram. And if you don't got millions of people messing with you already, you can't even get no record deal. You gotta make it on your own. Most of these cats is down in Chicago, they ain't with no record label. They doing it on their own. So people say, well, the record label's doing this and that. That's because a bunch of old people that's outdated. Record label's been dead since 2000. Ain't no record label. You don't need no record label no more. I got a record label. I don't even have to use it. Now you got to get. Chief Keef made it off of YouTube. He didn't make it from Instagram. I mean, from the people he signed with. He had millions of views on YouTube before he even left Chicago. He made it on his own. These kids are out here making it on their own. And there's no Warner Bros. And Universal behind them. By the time Universal don't want to sign you, you're already a big star already. Most of these kids getting shot, they ain't on no record labels. This is a false narrative. And you know why? Because it's black people that ain't doing nothing, doing the talking, and they don't even know they're not on record labels. They talking some 1979 shit, the 1995 shit in 2022. These kids, 2022, these kids ain't on no record labels.
Well, what I read recently is that I think 7 out of the last 9 brothers that was killed in Atlanta, whatever the case may be, were all signed to the same production company.
Right, and they used that, a production company, but they used that to try to paint the narrative. It's everybody.
Well, what I'm saying is, because somebody tried to ask me that I want to get a deal with them, and I explained to them, man, this guy's last 5-6 artists come up dead. He was accused. It was suggested that he may have been involved. Well, the record company may have benefited from the death of these artists. Okay, and what I know for a fact is that every artist wants to be signed to somebody else for whatever reason. Don't ask me why. I've had people offer me all day publishing to sign them to my label. People want to belong to something. And if you give them, guys get contracts with no money, 10-year contracts with no money, just to say they signed to somebody's label. They still got to do the goddamn work. But what they don't know is most of them signed the way they write, they write to name and likeness in perpetuity. And these people wait for them to go out and do their fucking legwork with YouTube, Spotify, and all the other platforms. And once somebody want to sign their asses, now you got to buy them from me. And that's been the game forever. Because these youngsters, like you said, they don't read, they're very smart. They got a hustle mentality. They don't understand. They don't need that. But if somebody say, "Man, come on, sign with me right quick, Doc. I'll put you on this. I'll do blah 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 blah." You still got to keep on grinding. I'm gonna get you some shows. I'm gonna get you some pussy. Or sometimes, you get some bullshit in your contract just to make you feel good, and you may be on the way up. And as soon as somebody want to offer some money for you, whether it be a new management company like Meg Thee Stallion, same thing happened to her. She signed with one company for a small amount of money. As soon as she blew up, here comes Jay-Z, his company, wanted to sign her. But before she can leave, first of all, you got to give us some money. Then you go talk to her. And that's been the game since I can remember. And these youngsters still fall for it.
But then people say that, but them people ain't putting no money into nobody.
I'm just saying. All I'm saying is they fall for it.
I find artists, and that's what people would say when artists are signed to me. But the people that say that to the artists that signed to me, they ain't gave us a red nickel. I got to buy the clothes. I got to pay the photo shoot. I got to pay the studio time. I got to pay.
And I tell you what, as soon as the artist gets some success, and one of them white boys with a checkbook come wave it in his face, you're going to be the worst person in the world.
That's fine, but here goes the problem. I'm out and I say, I'm looking for a rapper. People say, go see my boy Ando, he can rap. When I go see Ando, he can really rap, but he's a vice lord. So what black people don't understand is the talent is wherever it's at. Some of these kids are extremely talented, but they're already in a bad situation. We can't decide where the talent comes from. Just because the guy's a GD or a Crip doesn't mean he can't sing or doesn't mean he can't rap. So a lot of times we find these rappers, when we find them, they're already in a bad situation. They're not really taking rap that serious at one point, then they start taking it. So now when I sign him, he's already in the middle of gang wars. He's already in the middle of a bunch of stuff. He's extremely talented. Now when I go take him to the studio, I put a beat on, all he gonna rap is that shit from Our Girl Gardens.
So basically he setting himself up to get shot there.
But that he set himself shit to get shot before I find him.
And actually he's setting you up to get shot too.
Well, or for somebody to get shot trying to shoot me.
Okay, I'm out.
But what I'm saying is, my point I'm making is that the talent, a lot of times in bad situations, that we have extremely talented youth living in horrible gang-like conditions. And we trying to pick the talent out of there, but the trouble comes with them. And I've had to drop artists back off in bad situations where they live. The idea is to get him money, get him out of there. But to get him out of there is not tomorrow. That could take 2 or 3 years. So this 2 or 3 years of going to his mama's house in bad situation. So let's say it's going to take him 3 years to get out. And in 2.5 years, he get a buzz. Then he gets shot. Everybody going to say, why he didn't leave the hood? Because we were still in the process. Like, just what people don't understand, how horrible the Black community is, that we have you trapped in this situation. You born trapped in it. Like when you grow up and you're a Black stone in Chicago, your brother's a stone. Ain't none of that. Ain't none of that. None of that. Your brother's considered what you are. He's born in it. And we don't have any community leaders or anybody with no money putting no coalition together to make nothing better for the community. If enough Black people got together that complain about the music, if they got together and did something, it wouldn't be nothing to complain about. So it really frustrates me because every time I get on the internet talk about music, I get 100, 200 Black people complaining, but they ain't gonna put up $5 on nothing. They all fake and fraudulent because they complaining with their mouth, but they ain't gonna do nothing. They ain't gonna do nothing. This just comes from somebody in the business. Ain't nobody gonna help you do nothing with these youth. You get these youth and you try to get them out the hood. The Black people that complain about the music ain't gonna do nothing. They ain't gonna help the situation. In our community, everybody go to work and go home.
Now, is there a point where the industry is making some kind of money from some of these rappers?
After you get so big. But if you don't have no connects, or if you don't have a big social media following, you cannot get signed in 2022. Period.
So
see, when I first got in the business, they was giving out label money. Mm-hmm. But a lot of the guys was getting the label money and jacking it up. Getting the label money, motherfuckers in the studio smoking weed all day. You come, they ain't did #1 record. So the labels don't want to give no money no more. You got to go out here and show them that you can promote yourself and do the work before they give you any money nowadays. You have to prove to them that you can build your own fan base. Then they will invest in you. That's just how it works nowadays.
Hey, Doc, I got to get ready to roll, man. I got to do another podcast.
It was
a few minutes.
No, bro, I really appreciate the knowledge.
No problem. Same here, Doc. Same here.
All right.
I appreciate you, Lonzo.
Always.
So I'm gonna chop it up a little bit, just a little bit more with Brother Pharaoh. And Lonzo, before you leave,
for some more, Lonzo. Next time, I want to do some music history with you. I want you to go through.
we can make that happen.
All right, brother. Stay sharp.
All right. My channel is NWA Stories with Lonzo, the Compton Chronicles, and Legendary Connects with my man Dr. Dre for UMTV Rap. So I'm about to go do Compton Chronicles right now. So I got to get ready to roll. We got some shit happening in Compton I got to go deal with.
All right, brother. Stay strong.
All right, folks. Y'all be easy.
All right.
Okay. Appreciate you. Now, Brother Pharaoh.
Yeah.
Because I think are these shootings and things, I know we had some here in Atlanta and different places, but does it seem like it's concentrated where you're at with all with the rappers?
Yeah.
And you think go ahead, I'm sorry.
Because it's heavily gang related.
Okay. So it's the GDs, Vice Lords, and those type of
right now it's GDs against BDs.
Okay. And so and you mentioned that they don't have to, they're some people know about them and whatever, but they're not signed to big labels.
No.
So the fact that they're not signed to big labels, there's not a lot of cash flow coming in.
No, they get some cash here. They get most of their cash from their views, and they get most of their views from being gang related.
But yet, do you think they have enough to have some kind of like protection or something, or some kind of lookout or security?
They too young for that. They don't really. Their mind ain't there. They mind they with the bullshit. They with it. So people say, you got to understand if I'm a BD and I make a record, the fact that I'm a BD is what's going to make me a star. Because it's 150,000 gang members in Chicago. So now if I'm a BD, how many BDs are going to watch my video? So I don't need regular people to watch my video.
So now it's like, okay, so we're hearing and how people in the chat were probably studying as well, because I'm quite sure some people weren't aware. So basically, in order for you to be a rapper that comes from certain areas where there's gang related and things like that, you're anticipating on being shot before you make it big. Is that how it goes?
No, you're anticipating shooting somebody else.
Oh, that's another.
Everybody feel like if you run up, you're going to get shot. So everybody's on self-defense mode. Nobody's really just feel like they laying down. They feel like, if you feel like you can shoot me, I feel like I can shoot you.
And then when you rap about it, you really live in it.
They rapping about what they really live, and they selling it to the people that live that same life. That's the majority of their fan base is the same people. Chief Keef got on because he was a BD. And if he's a BD, so many BDs going to watch it. And then if he's a BD, so many GDs going to watch it to hate on him. So all your ops are going to watch your video and your game. It's an instant fan base.
So when they took the music out of the schools, and I guess, did they take the music out of the Chicago schools? I hear about New York.
Took the music out of the schools.
Okay. So when they took that out of there, and they took some of it out of our schools, they just gave us marching band and some other things. But when they took that out, do you think that they knew what they were doing as far as our creative flow? Like,
no, because the kids' music is good. It's just older people don't know what they're listening to. Okay. When you in the business, you have to know what you're listening to. We call it fresh ears. And if you got old ears, you don't know what you're listening to. So if you don't understand the technique, it'll just sound like noise, the same way George Clinton sounded to people that like the Temptations.
Okay.
It's the thing. You have to know what you're listening to know how talented they are.
Because the reason why I'm asking this question is because, I think we have somewhat of the same background in music, besides all these heavy hitters you were working with. Right. Shout out to Sun Ra. Just the fact that you're able to read music, pick up an instrument, and just create things from out of your head. It seemed like the market has been cornered, but just making a beat and coming up with lyrics.
Well, not really, because if you these records, it's not just making a beat, it's making something unique. So when you deal in terms of sonics, the youth are making a different sound. You might not like it, but you have to give them credit. They have created a different sound. They don't sound like the Commodores. They don't sound like the Isley Brothers. The Isley Brothers made music until they hit a wall. You cannot make any more new sounding Isley Brothers. Parliament, Funkadelic made their music till they hit the wall. Eventually a sound reaches its limit and you can't reproduce that sound. So the youth have created a new sound. It's really genius. Their beats are a new beat. Their beat don't sound like a Pete Rock beat. They don't like music. When I first got into rap, it was a kick, there was a bass, there was a drum. They don't make it like that no more. Now the drum plays notes. So there used to be a time a song would go boom, 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 boom. Yeah. And then the bass would play a bass line. But now they have the kick drum go boom, 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 boom. So the drum now is actually playing notes.
Uh-huh.
And the youth are harmonizing and rapping. They're rapping notes now. They're not rapping monotone no more.
Okay.
They're sing rapping. It's totally a new art form.
Okay.
And very difficult to do.
So did we completely lose the use of the instrument without, you know, the acoustics and things like that? Did we lose that?
I wouldn't say we lost it, but it's just like using 2-inch tapes. Things are just different now. And people adapt to the future. So I wouldn't say we lost it, but now I can get all my instruments on the internet. I can go to the internet and I got organ keys, I got 200 bass lines, I got 500 keyboard lines. And now as a producer, you have to play a variety of instruments. Back when I came in, you had a bass player and this, but now new producers, you have to play the bass, you have to play the keyboards, you have to play the kick. You have to play it all yourself as a producer. So they're really more talented. Because when you make a beat, you're playing every instrument.
So let me ask you this about Death Row Records being acquired by Snoop. Do you think that he's going to go in the direction of where the young people are, you know, going into, or do you think he's trying to bring back some old blueprints and things that worked the past?
I'm not sure. I'm not sure, but if we do the old stuff, we're gonna flop. Because old people buy music.
Now going back, and you know, this is the part I was going to get to with Suge Knight, based on your observation, and the things. Obviously he was large in life, but at the same time, he was kind of reckless according to what they were portraying him, or what we saw. What, you know, some things that you know, just to critique him, and if he's listening, I don't think he's listening.
But he does.
Okay, if he's listening, what what are the things that? Let me read what I wrote so I can make it word for word here. What did Suge do wrong, and what could he have done to be on top?
He couldn't have did nothing different because, like I was telling the brother, at that point, the music was gangster, the studio was gangster, everything was gangster. And the 90s, 2000s, you couldn't go in no studio without no gun.
Hmm.
All of the people that was invested was gangster and drug dealers and players on another level. It was a dangerous atmosphere. It wasn't like that. It come up out the streets. That hip hop, when black people started making more music, it came out of violence in the streets. That's where it came from. Whether the rappers was rapping about violence or not, the black people behind the scene, that's the life they was in. So Suge would just play the hand he was dealt at that time. He couldn't have did nothing in LA at that time without being a powerful blood. He wouldn't have went nowhere. He couldn't even came outside.
Okay, and I was sitting there like really just soaking it in earlier. Um, Now, when these guys come out and they're trying to get their deals, and you were saying definitely that their their inspiration was the streets rather than the inspiration being the music. Now, say for example, let's take is it Stony Island?
Right,
Now, Stony Island, that's pretty much a nice environment, correct?
pretty much.
Um, and for folks who don't know, that's Chicago out there in the chat. Now, if they had some kind of group that came out of there and start pushing some of their lifestyles and things like that, would they be able to? Do they have a chance to develop some kind of fan base based in that area?
No, because Stony Island, the street is nice, but all them neighborhoods is gang.
Ooh,
All them, all the neighborhoods. It's only a few neighborhoods. There's 77 neighborhoods in Chicago, and
uh,
the neighborhoods that's most likely going to develop rappers it's going to be gang related, because those that come out of nice neighborhoods don't want to be rappers.
Okay.
Yes. If you come out of a nicer neighborhood, you're probably going to school to be a doctor or something like that. Then we have so many youth that's trying to make it in sports. And then the bottom of the barrel, those that don't have no opportunity, how could you judge them because they looking at rap as a way to get out of the hole?
Hmm. So
Rap comes out of poverty and comes out of suffering.
now, even though, based on your observation, you're saying that the the streets or the neighborhoods and the community pretty much was the ones that were inspiring the rappers.
Right.
Do you think there's any kind of point to where the industry was trying to come up with something to do what they said in that video in the beginning? Do you think?
Nah, that video's all bullshit.
Okay, could you break that down for us?
That video was somebody that in the future went back and put a scenario together. I remember when that video came out, it was well in 2000 or something. So he took a situation with the prisons and he went and he made up a fake scenario trying to paint what happened, how everybody ended up in the prisons. It's all fake because nobody would have did that in 1991, because in 1991, rap wasn't the biggest music. It was Michael Jackson, Mary J. Blige, and all of them, Jodeci and them. So why would somebody look at rap in 91 like it was all that when it wasn't? Rap was nothing comparatively speaking in 91.
Yeah, that's why I kind of call it the hip hop Willie Lynch letter.
It's a fake. That's a fake story. That story not real. That story's not real at all. The penitentiaries are full because the penitentiaries are full. And when you put people in the penitentiary, and my son got to go to jail for some weed, but he get locked up with murderers, how you think he gonna be when he get out? What about kids going in and out of the penitentiary gonna make them better? And if I live in a poor neighborhood and somebody get out the county jail or penitentiary and he's on the block with my son gonna have to be penitentiary like to be outside with this guy.
Now, you made a very excellent point as far as the Kennedys and the mafia and all these different people, where they pretty much flipped it and then became legit.
Right.
So, like, what are examples of how like we had Bumpy and we had who else? These other people, Lucas, and all these other people. And I heard that they have done things with the Apollo and all that, but like you said, matter of fact, a lot of these documentaries break this stuff down, how they're constantly being infiltrated and all these other things when they're trying to do good. Right? So my question is, why is the quote unquote powers that be is so have a very invested interest in making sure that we don't go legit, but let the Italians and Irish and all these other people.
They didn't really let them go legit. Some of them made it through, but they came out to the Rico and locked all the Italian mob up too and broke down the mob. They didn't do as good as they could have did either. That they were the first victims of RICO laws, and you got old Italian mobsters that should be homeless in prison dying on weak cases right now.
Mm-hmm.
But one thing they did to help them is they started sending their children to school to be lawyers and stuff like that. If you look at the hip hop community, when rappers make it, they send their children to be business professionals. They don't send their children to be rappers.
Now, how come us in the community don't get that message?
Because we too busy going to work every day. We ain't got time to think about that. Like, yeah. Understand that you go home, okay, your children got to go to school. They got to be to school at 9, but you got to be to work at 9. So you can't take your children to school. Then when your children get home, they might get home at 3 or 4. You got to rush home and deal with your children. The school got your children most of the day. When you get home at 5, what you get, or 6, what you got? 6, 7, 8, 9. You got 3 hours. And you got to go to bed for the next morning. So where are black people going to get all this extra time to do all these miracles when you are basically an economical slave?
Now, here's the thing, too, because when I talk about on this channel, it's a lot, definitely educational opportunities. There's plenty of scholarships that kids just don't apply, even if they have the grades, right?
Right.
And like for example, my mom used to be when she was living, she was over the Black Chamber of Commerce in her city. And she was doing that mainly for the youth. She was like, okay, I'm gonna set this up, and then when I get it off the ground, I'm gonna have these youth take over. That was
Right.
her whole thing, right? But when she had like certain things like how children could, well, not children, but teenagers like 17, 18, they
Mhm.
can get their appraiser's license. They can do all kinds of things on a high scale. But a lot of parents is going back to what you're saying. A lot of parents said, "Hey, they ain't got time for that. I'm just going to take them to do the football or basketball instead of doing 2 months in a program that was for free."
Mhm.
Right? So I've been dealing with this for 25 years, where we do have opportunities, not for everybody, but
Mhm.
we have enough to put a chunk in some of the stuff that's happening, and we still not gravitating or trying to figure out what the rappers did.
Because I talk about this all the time. All we think about is holidays and Christmas. Everything is planned for a celebration. We work and we celebrate, and we work and we celebrate. And every weekend is a celebration. Thank God it's Friday, over the hump. All of that, our whole mentality, by the time we get off Friday, our mentality is gone already. We already just into what we gonna do for ourselves around to get a break and then go back to work. So when you're an entrepreneur like myself, I mean, you can't really get no black people to help you like that because they all are stuck in economical slavery. My mother didn't have the time to think about nothing by the time she got home.
I don't think people understand, because I think the stuff that you were telling Lonzo, it kind of threw him back because uh, it sounds way more extreme than what's going on out here. Um, and I don't know whether or not, if anybody is willing to. My whole thing is this: yeah, you got you got your problem situations, but we need to pay attention to the pharaohs and all of them that have the vision, so that somebody with the access can pull it through. But for some reason, um, it's almost like peanut butter just don't want to deal with chocolate.
Right. Well, California, Mexicans run California, so black people don't even run LA no more.
Right, or they moving somewhere else.
I
Yeah,
went back to LA, it was Mexican.
yeah.
And so, black people ain't got power in LA no more. Not like they have. All they politicians are Hispanic now.
Is it a high population of black people in Chicago
Yeah. The whole
compared to over here?
drive from downtown as far as you drive south is all black. I don't have to see a white person if I don't want to.
So that's literally like a chocolate city.
Basically, black mayor, black everybody.
Now, is there any chance? Because I think you were probably going into the youth rather than the older guys. But there any chance to at least put a dent into where we start bringing the stuff that you want done in the community? Is there any chance that like someone like a Robert F. Smith or someone else can come in and start making changes in the community?
I got to do it myself with RBGG, with my plans with RBGG. Nobody's going to do nothing. It takes one person to go and do something and then basically hire people around them to build a movement. You can't wait on the movement no more. Like I tell black people, if you look at an arrow, like a bow and arrow, and if you look at an arrow will be like, and when you shoot the arrow goes into the deer and kill the deer. And this is the whole arrow. But all of this is invalid without this point. This point is what makes the arrow valuable. And without this point, it's dull and it'll bounce off the deer or whatever. So anything you want to start, you got to do it by yourself and be the point to get anything going. If I want anything going, I got to do it myself. And I got to be the point, and then I build the rest of the arrow behind that. But if I wait, and that's the problem, we keep saying, why we, and ain't no we. You got to do it by yourself and build a we. And this is the difference between whites and blacks. One white man will go start a startup and get people to do the startup and build it just from his own idea. We wait on the whole group to do it.
So you're saying you'd have to start from inside, and then just take some resources from other people in order to
bring them in. Right. You have to start the movement yourself, and then bring people in. If you wait for people to build a movement, you'll be waiting forever.
Man. Now all these shootings and things with the rappers, do you think that things might get better, or you think it's going to get worse?
Like I said, we had almost 800 shootings last year. But in 1974, we had 1,000. Chicago's a gangster city. Ain't got nothing to do with rap. Chicago been like that since Al Capone.
So it's just to the point to where so that kind of makes sense as far as the other, like back in the day, we had a shooting every 3-4 months or so.
Not when I was in LA. When I was in LA.
For the rappers, I mean the rappers.
Oh yeah, with the rappers, right? But you didn't have that many rappers. That's why I was trying to tell the brother it's not fair to compare, because back then you couldn't be a rapper unless you got on a record label. But now all you need is a Spotify and a YouTube. So you really can't compare rappers now with rappers then. I don't know why people understand that. You could wake up tomorrow and be a rapper. You don't have to be on Interscope. You don't have to be on Death Row. You just
look at 50. 50, he pretty much came in talking about he got bullet wounds and he did A, B, and C. And it seemed like, I don't know if that set the standard, but it seemed like they were like, wow, he's the truth. He got locked up. He got shot.
No, 50 made it because he got with Dr. Dre and he made a really good album.
Well, who started that trend as far as talking about how many, your street cred, so to speak? Who came up with that?
G-Rap and Eric and Rakim.
Oh, that far back?
Rakim was talking about cocaine.
Okay.
But everybody try to act like they don't know. Kool G-Rap was a gangster rapper.
He sure was.
He was talking about gunplay all the time. I'm just tripping. People act like they don't hear that. But the audience was different. This is what I was trying to tell the brother. The audience is different. So they would say, well, why do so many people in Chicago like drill? Because everybody in Chicago is somewhere around these shootings and these murders, even if you're a decent kid. So my daughter, she's in school to be a nurse. She's in medical school, but she loves Chief Keef. She went to see Little Dirk. She likes what they say because growing up in Parkway, she can relate with what they're saying. What they saying was a part of her life. It doesn't matter if she was gangbanging. When you live in Chicago, that's a part of your life when you're young. It's not like it's a foreign element. So even the decent kids like that stuff. Then a lot of those artists talk about girls. See, people are lying about the music. You do not make it with murder. You cannot be a big artist from Chicago just talking about shooting people. You have to appeal to the girls. And if you're not cute and you don't wear nice clothes and jewelry and dress up, you're not going to appeal to the girls. Nobody song, kill him, kill him, kill him, kill him, kill him. Nobody's saying that. There's a bunch of old people that ain't listening.
Okay.
Here in Chicago, the ones that do the most drill, they ain't made it yet. The ones that do hardcore drill, they ain't made.
So this is mostly a local sensation that kind of grows out to other people, and once other people start to take on it, then that's their big break, pretty much.
But they're not gonna get no break if they don't appeal to the girls. None of the biggest artists are drill rap. Dirk does not talk about shooting that much. He talks about girls a lot. He got famous for, and why did he propose to his girl to marry her live in concert?
Is that the one you posted on Instagram?
I didn't post him proposing, but he proposed to his girlfriend live. Why? That's what's gonna make the girls come see it. You got to appeal to the women, and the women only like angels and devils. So you got to have a little bad boy, but you got to talk about the women. So if you give me the average oldest dude, and he say something about the music, and I take an artist and put the song on, and I say the lyrics, I guarantee you they don't know how much they talk about my baby did me dirty, she left me. That's in all the songs.
Now, would you say that a great amount of women out there like drill rap and the rappers?
Drill rap is really not as big as people say it is. They call it drill because they might say a couple words, but the music is mostly girl music for girls. The biggest artists don't do drill. The brother that had the big concert where people got killed, he don't do drill. Kanye don't do drill. Drake don't do drill. Name Future. Name all the big artists. They're not talking about killing. That's a false illusion that you talk about killing and you get rich. We got artists here like Katie Got Bands. She do hardcore drill. She haven't broke through yet. Megan Thee Stallion talk about sex. She's a star. Am I right or am I wrong?
She's big.
Cardi B talks about sex. Is she okay? Violence does not sell as much. They lying. Sex sells more than violence. Most kids want to hear sex, and I'm getting money. Rappers making it because they reflect success, money, big chains, lots of money, fancy cars, Gucci and Louis Vuitton. That's how they're selling records.
Now, the same thing that you were saying about how the hip hop is not, or the rap is not inspiring people to do whatever. Would you say the same thing for the female rappers?
Right. Them rappers are saying what them women are already doing.
Okay.
See, what people don't understand is the rap, they act like rappers come from another planet. The rappers come out of the community. And this is what I don't like about the scenario. They talk about the rappers like the rappers come and just start singing something out the blue. No, the rappers come out the community and they rap about what their peers want to hear. You cannot force your audience to listen to you.
Supply and demand.
Basically, demand and supply.
Okay.
Supply and demand is wrong. It's the demand and then they supply it. That you rap, when I get a young rapper, and he raps 5 songs, and he goes on the block and he plays it for his friends determine which song they like.
Mm-hmm.
He don't determine which song is the best. When he's on the porch at his mother's house, it's his friends that determine what they feel, which song he did that they like. And then we decide to go with that song. It comes from the community. And people try to act like rappers are going out here putting some scenario and the community's just gullible and the community just, no. That's all bullshit. Everything they saying is real on the streets already. They don't make nothing happen.
Jeez. Yes, I hope people got a lot out of this conversation.
They won't believe me, but most of them ain't gonna put a dime into the music. I'm talking to people, if they did, it was how long ago? How many of these people going in the studio today? I'm in the studio today, to now. I'm producing now. And I have an artist that don't rap about violence and that. And to sell that artist is like pulling teeth.
So,
Because his audience don't exist.
so what are your recommendations for the youth and how they could create freely or even develop a creative or develop an ear for creativity without outside influences?
It's impossible because outside influence is the only thing gonna buy your record.
Man, so that's where we at.
OJ said what? You got to give the people what they want. It's just, that's what it is. James Brown, when everybody started doing the spank, James Brown made a spank record. It goes like this. Every so many generations, black people make a different way they move to the music. They'll have one dance in the 60s and then another one and another one and another one. And now in 2022, 23, if you go to the club, there's a certain way they dance. If you see TikTok and these things, these kids have a dance. As an artist, you have to make a song that they can move the way they're already moving. Now, if you don't make a song where they're moving the way they're moving, I can't play it at the club. You have to feed me what's going to make me be a good DJ. And what's going to make me be a good DJ, you got to be in the same tempo that they want to hear. You can't make them dance to a different tempo. So when we was doing slow dancing with the girls, the Isley Brothers and all them knew how to make groove with me because we were slow dancing.
Right.
So everybody made a slow record so you could slow dance.
Even Parliament made those slow records too.
Right. When you started to get to more funky and disco, everybody started making disco records. Now there's a different sound where they're doing the TikTok dances and shit like that. And if you want to be a big star, your song got to go viral with them dancing to your song. And if they don't dance to your song, you out of there.
Now, do you I think do you find the youth listening to you a lot, or do you have a hard time imparting wisdom to them?
The youth, young people, I don't know because I just talking to anybody that comes. But when I'm outside, I'm talking to the youth. I really don't have no problem talking to the youth because I try to go against the grain on what they're saying. I don't try to tell them no make-believe fairy tale when I know the conditions that they live under. I have to pick up rappers whose friend just got shot. What you want me to tell them? I have to pick up people whose brother's been killed, brother just went to jail. I got to take them to the studio. And when I put a beat on, what you think he gonna rap about? You know,
Like the blues.
you know, they talk about hip hop, but hip hop is pure. So when I put a beat on, whatever, as long as you can rap, it's not for me to tell you what to rap. Just rap it good and express your conditions. But what's going on, the reason black people don't like the music, because black people don't want to face the conditions of the community. The music that is drill, the music that is trap, the music that's over-sexualized is revealing the reality of the community. And nobody want to face that. See, that you don't want to deal with that. So you just want them to shut up and say something different. Because nobody wants to deal. Every time I challenge anybody, they always jump around dealing with the reality of the music. They start jumping around. They start running from the conversation. Every time I put it back on the people, well, what are you doing? What are you doing to change the conditions where different lyrics come to their head? Because you can take artists and you watch any artist as they become more successful, their lyrics begin to change. Any artist. Any artist, as their life get better, as they get out of a bad situation, then their lyrics start reflecting their different lifestyle. That's just a fact.
Yeah.
And we don't want to admit that, because to admit what's really going on mean that we have to do some work. So what we want to do is we need to, which is some bullshit. Like the we need to shit, knowing that we ain't gonna never do it. I don't be want to hear that shit. We. Okay, when we gonna do all this? One magical day?
So definitely what you say for sure is that even if you took the music away, the problem's still going to be here.
Yeah, like I said, people got killed in 1974. And with no Superfly, no shit like that. Superfly wasn't no GD. But whatever. Superfly wasn't no GD or no Black Star. Come on, man. These guys don't give a fuck about no music, man. These gangs ain't listen, don't care nothing about what no music say. They don't even listen. They don't even really listen to music like that unless you that guy. Like if I got some guys, they only are listening to my song. They not really gonna listen to nobody else. These young killers and stuff, they don't listen to music like that. Regular black folks listen to that stuff. The real dangerous ones, they out on the block. And they number one medium that they deal with is video games.
That was another thing we talked about yesterday.
These youth was playing Call of Duty and shit like that, and Grand Theft Auto. They not listening to no music like that. These old dudes is outdated. They don't even know what's going on in the hood. When these gang members come off the block selling or hustling, whatever, and come in the house, they roll up weed and they play Call of Duty and Grand Theft Auto. That's what they do. They do not sit around memorizing no rap songs. The street hates rappers.
Oh, that's another topic right there.
The street don't like no rappers. Rappers get robbed and killed. Why you think rappers get killed? The streets don't like no rappers.
Man, now that's huge right there.
The street don't like rappers. If I'm BD, I don't give a fuck about no rap. I don't care nothing about no rapper. It's BD. Like the rappers ain't influential like that. The rappers most influential to the girls. The girls like rappers.
Wow.
The brothers on the street don't like rappers like that. Listening to no rapper.
So
nobody listen to no rapper and go out and be no shooter. Dudes are shooters because you outside with shooters.
But you're talking about people that's about that life though, right?
Yeah, but all of them, the streets. And when you're in the streets, you follow the streets. You don't follow nobody. When you come outside Chicago, you live in Roseland, you live on the west side, you're doing what the streets do. You're not doing what no songs say.
And what about the average backpack wearing dude that's just, straight laced or whatever, listen to their parents or whatever, but still like the music?
They like the music because they got to come outside and they crossing them elements and they need to know what's going on.
So now it's informative.
Yeah, it's informative. It's like going and seeing the lions and the tigers. Okay. It's like walking next to danger without being in danger.
And they have their own language that most of us older people don't really pick up on.
And they got relatives that have been shot. Like I said, if you go to Chicago, ask the kids, how many of y'all seen somebody shot? And see how many hands go up. Ask them how many of their relatives been shot. See how many hands go up. Ask them how many people they've seen killed. See how many hands go up. Like I said, I keep saying, my daughter grew up in O Block. She went to Dulles. Chief Keef's sister went to school with my daughter. They was in the same class. My daughter's favorite rapper is Chief Keef. My daughter's in medical school. She don't gangbang or nothing, but she loved Chief Keef. And ain't nothing you can tell her.
Mm.
Everything he talk about violence, she can relate because she lived in O Block. She wasn't violent, but she know it's real. And that's what people don't understand. The violence is around these kids.
Mm-hmm.
So they can relate. You can get carjacked here. You don't got to be no gang member to be carjacked, robbed, and shot.
Wow. I think you gave everybody a whole different perspective. So now they're going to have to really rethink some of the things that have been told to them.
When the community changed, the music will change. They're going to rap whatever the audience want to hear. And the audience is basically want to hear sex and money. Everybody's lying about rap. Rap music is not murder. Murder is like fourth on the list. Today, rap music is about money and women and sex. That is a fact. Anybody want to try me? We can go pull up the song lyrics. We can go pull up pictures of the rapper. All the rappers got a lot of chains on.
So it's like cupcaking.
And that's what everybody wants. If you're poor, you want to see somebody with money inspire you to get money.
Okay.
Money, and sex. If you listen to Megan, she talk about money and sex.
So that's the hook.
That's what everybody want to hear. If I was young and black, that's what I would want to hear.
And you need some kind of instructional manual, correct?
Well, when I'm listening to music, I'm having fun. I'm not trying to like this. When we was young Rastas, we would be at the house listening to Bob Marley and conscious reggae.
Right.
But when we went to the club, we didn't want to hear no damn Bob Marley. We want to hear Nine Nerves. We want to hear some rubber dub. We want to hear some sexy stuff. We don't want to hear no conscious stuff when we having fun. And people get that mixed up. They can't have fun, so they want to hear more fun music. But they overhyping the violence because all the biggest rappers are not violent. This is what's phony. They saying, oh, you just make violence and get rich. Who, Kanye? Who, Drake? They lying.
I think you mentioned too in one of your live streams. Please subscribe to Brother Pharaoh's channel. It's in the link is in the description box. I think you've mentioned also that a lot of people are saying that there's not good rap anymore, but you were mentioning that there's so many indie artists out there that got every type of rap style that you want, but you don't search for it.
And they don't got a big enough audience. Nobody want to hear that. They don't have a big enough audience. The radio not gonna play you if nobody want to hear it. Nobody, like the people that's for conscious music, they don't want to admit nobody want to hear that. Like Kendrick Lamar they give him a little space. He's the one they gonna let play. But other than that, nobody wants to hear anything positive like that. Like the audience is not with that. The audience want to have fun. They don't want preachy stuff. They don't want to be preached to. They're going to a concert to have a good time. And girls only angels and devils. And now if I got on a bunch of jewelry and I'm talking about money, I got to talk about shooting you if you try to rob me. Duh. If I'm walking around, I got fancy cars. How can I not rap about shooting somebody?
Yeah, because what you just described, I had an interview with some of my Mexican students, and they talked about the style called corridos.
Right.
And it's pretty much exactly how you're describing about some of the rapper's subject matter. You know, it's about the girls and everything else, but there's always a draw card in it to keep, give them the stuff or give you the idea of how they're getting the stuff, how to get the fame, how to get the connections.
Right.
And there's a lifestyle with it as well, drinking and all that.
Right.
So,
Because media and I have to often talk about shooting because people get on here and threaten me and all kind of stuff. People get on here talking crazy to me, so I have to let them know if they run up, they're going to blicky coming up.
right.
It's the same shit. It's like, don't turn around and say that's what I'm about. No, a lot of y'all is fools. A lot of y'all try to go too far. A lot of y'all disrespectful and stuff. A lot of y'all think you could just walk up to a man and talk to his woman when he's with her. It's a lot of disrespect in the community. A lot of brothers don't know how to act and treat another brother. That's why the violence is that high. They don't know how to act. You go too far, you can't hold your liquor. You doing stuff you ain't got no business. And that's causing a lot of the violence. The other violence is years and years of gangbanging. They playing, it's like the Hatfield and the McCoys. You didn't kill my cousin, other gang that killed my cousin, my brother, my mama got shot in the leg, my sister got shot in the shoulder.
Now you mentioned too, because I'll be playing your clips every now and then on my channel, and the one that I gravitate to the most on, I think the one we did with Sonetta about a year ago, when you talked about, you said that the youth has to shake the F up, because I can't get, I'm not listening to you, you're supposed to listen to me, blah blah blah. So you were saying those things,
right?
The part that I remember that you said before was that a lot of people are not really understanding who the real enemy is. You took your eye off the target, but yet you got hate for your fellow man. You have hate for your fellow brother.
Exactly. They don't like, they don't like their own black people. Like black people target black people and put us in a situation where we got to be talking about violence against black people. If you're a black man, you come to Chicago, your chance to be killed by a black man is way higher than by a white man or a police. Because of the penitentiary system and the jail system, and they can't get no jobs and all that. Black men are being programmed to be vicious.
And basically our music is pretty much the storytelling.
It's telling the real story, and don't nobody want to hear the story. So they want to sweep our conditions under the rug, and they want black people to get out here and rap about something that don't really reflect our real conditions. They want to hear fake shit. Cause it ain't none of that, all that positive, that ain't out here. That's not out here. If you is a doctor or a lawyer, whatever, doing something positive, you still better lock your doors. You think a robber or home invasion care because you're a positive doctor? They're gonna kick your door open and kill you and rob you.
Wow.
That's a fact. You don't get no pass because you're positive. You're a bigger target because you got something.
Wow. So basically, if it's almost like how corporate America is, people assume that corporate America is that if things go bad in a meeting, you shake hands and leave. You might wind up with your car blown up. It's not a straight lace. So basically, if you messing with the money, if you messing with the lifestyle, it's a wrap.
It's a wrap. And the black community is messed up and don't nobody want to deal with it. If as many brothers talked about getting rid of these cases once you get out of jail, that would fix everything. If you went to prison and you're doing 5 and you got out and that was off your record, that would fix everything. That would give a man a chance to turn his life around. When it be my case, I got out. I had to pay $15,000 to get out. $150,000 bail. First it was $250,000. Then I had to get out with a case. It's all going to be in my book. and I had to sell drugs to pay my lawyer.
Dang.
Now, if I get arrested for drugs and I come to court with a lawyer, you're telling me that the judge don't know how I'm paying this lawyer? I ain't got no job. Do they confiscate the money from the lawyer? Do they question the lawyer about taking this illegal money? No.
Right. Right.
Now, when the case get thrown out, that stuff has stay on my arrest record. I had cases for like gun possessions with no violence, just got a gun, and it was illegal to have a gun in Chicago. I got a gun to protect myself if I catch a case. You know how long that stayed on my record?
Oh, a long time.
I buy a gun legally. They charged me with illegal use of a weapon, but the weapon wasn't being used. It was under the car seat. And I only got pulled over for racial profiling. No crime committed or nothing. Just a white man pulled me over, find a gun, charged me for illegal use of a weapon that's not being used. That goes on my record. Okay, you can't get no apartment with that on your record. You can't drive for Uber. You can't drive for Lyft. You can't do nothing.
Mm-hmm.
When you get, even after the case is over, that stays on your record. So how do you pay your debt to society? So this is why so many black men relationship is messed up, because they with this woman because she the one got to get the apartment.
Mm.
Brothers can't get no apartments out here because they run your criminal record. Do you see black people complaining about all these black people being targeted and put in prison?
I don't see it.
All right, well, how you gonna throw so many people in prison and expect the music to be peaceful?
Right.
More men are raped in America than women.
Yeah, I heard you talk about that too.
Do black people know how many black men get raped in prison?
I don't think they do.
No. So now where's all this? You know what I'm saying? I don't know what to tell you. You know, you have to put your money where your mouth is and get some of these young artists and take them in the studio and see. It's not fair for me to tell an artist that his creativity as a rapper, I don't want it because of his living environment. I don't want you to rap because you come from a hard life and you're going to rap about that hard life. If you got the talent, you could rap. I deserve to let you express yourself, whatever it is, as long as you're really talented doing it.
Right.
And these young kids is extremely talented. And if you're not talented, you will not get a hit record.
But I also like to add that, you know, along with the talent, and probably some of them, you know, like you said, may not be able to read and things like that, but they still have a high level of intelligence compared to, you know, some people. And I know people saying, "Oh, you saying it because you're a teacher." Okay, it's guilty, but I pay attention to what the silent generation did, the sharecroppers and things like that, or son of sharecroppers. A lot of them, you know, they work hard. They didn't have time to a lot of time to spend with their children also, but they work hard enough to send their child to get a quality education, not just go to school, but get a quality education. And the reason why I throw that out there, whether you're the mailman or whoever, you're working hard, and we're hearing all these brothers getting caught up in the system. You know, I think we do have enough intelligent minds to, okay, if you're going to go to college, and we joke around the manosphere, talk about underwater basket weaving degrees, you know, which we say we're not looking at that. We're talking about doctors and lawyers. You know, we got bad health conditions, and we're not really encouraging children enough to become a doctor. We got, like you said, a lot of brothers get caught up in the law. What's wrong with sending? I mean, you know, encouraging enough brothers to, you know, to look out for you, knowing the law and having that as a practice. You know, I think that's a part that I think we miss out on because we're too busy. It's almost like you cover one hole and another one open up, and we got to cover that one, and you ran out of hands. You know,
because black people not realistic on how difficult it is to go to college.
Yeah. Because
you got to qualify for the loans and all that. Your parents got to prove their income, all type of stuff. Those of us that have children in college know how difficult it is. It ain't like you just walk into college.
Yeah, the issue that we keep getting. Because I haven't been on a scholarship commission in a while. You can have a 2.5 GPA and still get a full ride. It's a lot of but the thing is about us black folks, we don't ask enough questions. And granted, there are some people like Asian, Arabs, or whatever, they keep their stuff to themselves. But there are some people that are able to get that information so that you don't have to pay out of your pocket. You get this. You don't have to get loans and stuff like that. I think we it's there, but we have to get it to the people. In my opinion, I don't think we're not making a connection like we should.
The key, black people don't want to deal with it. I talk about it all the time. If you want people to do better, the black man got to get into public schools. If you live in a community and you're paying taxes in the community, that school is yours because you're paying the city and the city's taking your tax money and fixing the schools in your neighborhood. Black people have to take control of their schools. In the public schools in America, the black boy is treated like dirt and the girl is catered to. And the black boy is treated like dirt.
Yes, sir.
To the girls.
Yes, sir. Yes.
And the boy to be successful, he almost got to be girl-like.
Yeah, man, that's unfortunate.
Right? Now, the black man is not in there being principals, is not in there being teachers. You come to Chicago, you drive past the fire station, it's white men at your fire station. If you go in a white neighborhood, suburban Chicago, you're going to see all white police. You come to a black neighborhood, you see white police. Why aren't black people policing their neighborhoods? Do you know why a lot of these rappers and these brothers dying in Chicago? Not because they got shot. The ambulance letting them bleed out.
So it's like Killer King out here in Los Angeles.
Bleed out. If you look at FBG Duck, they let him die. He did not die from the shooting. The ambulance came and let him lay out there till he died. It's always disturbances and almost riots at these shootings where they leave our people laying on the ground for 20, 30 minutes after the ambulance get there. If you look at the George Floyd case, the ambulance pulled up. They got out the ambulance. The guy checked George Floyd's pulse with the white man's knee still on his neck. Then went back to the ambulance, left the knee on his neck, then came back and took his knee off the neck. They didn't come and get his knee off his neck and get him in the ambulance. No. Go watch the video footage. So if the black man complaining about music, if he's not going to drive the ambulance, if he's not going to be the police in his neighborhood, if he's not going to be the fireman, if he's not going to be the principal and the teacher, he can shut up complaining about the music.
So until that's here to stay.
That's it. And when I came up, we wasn't taught that. We was taught all this black conscious stuff and go back to Africa. And now a lot of people don't like me because I'm looking at where we went wrong. And now I'm teaching something different and they want me to keep teaching what I was taught in the 80s and the 90s. I'm not going to teach that. Now, if I knew what I knew then, I would have went and got on the police department with my dreadlocks. I would have fought that.
Is there a chance of them? Is there a chance of any kind of consciousness being introduced to them in a way to where it can be like for example, who did the Afro-Rukins? Was that Larry Hoover?
I'm not sure.
The Afro-Rukins.
No,
was that Jeff Ford?
You can't do no consciousness if you don't come outside. If you ain't on the block, no.
I think that was Jeff Ford.
That was Jeff Ford. If you're not on the block, no. If it doesn't come a part of the community, no. And it's not going to become a part of the community. How was it a part of the community in the 80s? Because we had little stores in the neighborhood. We had little reggae record stores. We had little stores sell African art and sold pendants. I sold this kind of stuff, and we created an environment. We're the ones brought Malcolm X to life, selling the Malcolm X t-shirt. We're the ones brought. Nobody was talking about Garvey till the 80s in LA.
Right.
They're selling Garvey shirts at the Kwanzaa Fest, at Leimert Park, and at events to bring them to life. And if you do, and that's what woke up the KRS Ones and the Chuck D's from community work, right? But black people don't really want to control the community. So I tell people, they say, well, Pharaoh, how can we help the music? By donating, by taking giving these kids money to go in the studio and make their little record. If a little guy in the community want to rap and he say he can get a studio for $25 an hour, and you say, okay, write your song and everything, come by, I'm gonna give you $100, that's 4 hours. And Shorty go make his music. And Shorty come back and play his music. You say, it's all right, but why you saying all this killing and stuff? He gonna listen to you because you invested in him.
But go ahead.
You invested.
Now the OG. So I mean, are the OGs still investing, or they pretty much say you're on your own? I don't have no interest in investing.
I mean, it wasn't a whole lot of OGs investing. It was people investing, but we was investing, and all the parents and shit was haters.
Ooh.
So I go pick up these shorties. I'm spending money hand over fist with these shorties, make a record. And after they see a series making records, the parents start telling the kids, I'm a cheater.
Oh, wow. Okay.
But the parents ain't never gave me a dime for these kids. The parents ain't, if your son could rap, if your son could do art, if your daughter could dance, you should invest in your children.
Yeah.
And invest in the children that don't have parents that could do that.
But do you, over there where you at, do you see the parents supporting sports more than anything else?
Somewhat, but not all of them, but somewhat. Because sports, they don't got to do nothing. The coach do everything. So the parents ain't got to do shit for you to play football. The coach is your daddy. So parents really doing nothing like that when it comes to sports. The kids doing that on their own too. And what do black people say? Everybody can't be a rapper. Everybody can't be a basketball player. All right, and how much money you invested for them to be something else? Nothing. Okay, shut up then. Everybody's complaining, but ain't nobody put their money where their mouth at. Like, where's the investment in the community? We don't even stores or nothing. We live in food deserts and under food apartheid. Black people don't even go run their own stores. We made a big mistake by sending all this money to these colleges. I say it all the time. I got my kids going to school. They taking English. Then my daughter go get her nails done by some Koreans that can't even speak English. People that don't even speak good English come in the neighborhood and make all this money. What are we taking English for? When are we going to invest? If the black man want to see better music, then go get a little spot, open up a little studio, and have the youth come to your studio and make their music. Now you have some influence. Now you have some input. Now you don't say that. Nobody gonna buy the record. If you say that, you ain't gonna get on the radio. We're gonna have to take it out anyway. So say another word. Now you got some influence. But you can't sit at home and just want them to just go out here and do it by themselves and then complain about what they're doing. I don't agree with that at all.
Do you got time for a few questions from some of the chat?
Yeah, let's do it.
Okay, so while we're talking, so anybody in the chat, please have questions, or if you want, I don't feel like having people coming up here because I don't, unless you want somebody to come up and ask you some questions too.
Let them come up. Let them come up. It makes good television.
Let me put that in there too.
It's easiest for you.
Okay, because I got all kinds of characters out there that need their mama and everything. So,
Well, that's all right. They can come up and learn something. They still could learn.
okay, okay. But while we're waiting, yeah, that's. I mean, this like music for sure is dear to my heart, especially our music.
Right.
And I hope that you know, when you come back, we can go over some of the, you know, like the 60s, 70s, 80s Like if I had it my way, and I think I'd probably still do it. I think I'm going to go back to school and get a history degree, so I can
Mhm.
have a funk music class. Funk.
Yeah. Well, if older people want to help change the music, go to the kids' concert.
Yeah.
All of you brothers, conscious brothers, go to the drill rappers and the trap rappers. Go to their show. Let them see you at the show.
Yeah.
When they see you at the show, that's gonna be in their mind when they get on the mic.
Yeah.
When they see you out there with Song and Africa, that gets into their psyche. When I went to see Dirk, those kids loved I was there. They couldn't believe I was there.
Mm.
They kept saying, "You like Dirk, OG? OG, you like Dirk? You in the music business?" I'm like, "No, I came to see Dirk." For real? They kept saying, "For real?"
Wow.
And going out while I was there, they was showing me how they was having a ball. They really wanted me to see, and I enjoyed watching them have a good time. I thought it was beautiful.
So go to the concerts. Huh?
Go to the concerts. If you some black conscious brothers, go be up there where they can see you. If you got plugged like me and my brother, we be backstage when they come backstage where we could talk to them.
Okay.
You know, go talk to them. These is our children. No matter how you look at it.
I'm gonna see you like later on. I'm gonna see you a picture of me and a famous rapper that you would never think I supported. You're gonna be like,
Yeah,
damn.
yeah. I just go to see them because they need to see me being there. They still the youth. They still our children. No matter what they saying, they still our children. And many times they're young. So if you look at Ice Cube, he said he came in a party, he was shooting and busting. He said he was shooting, everybody was cussing, and he kept on busting. He was talking about shooting up a black party.
Mm-hmm.
And now look at Ice Cube. Family man,
Yeah.
family. So, you know, we have to understand they're young. They expressing themselves from a young point of view and watch them in the music and watch them develop as they grow.
Now you said that most of them, I mean, most of them that you know about, they're not really interested in rap. They're interested in video games.
Yeah, they video game the thing now. Most people in the hood, they don't listen to music that much. They only listen to their boy or a fellow gang member. So if you live in Oakland, they outside. They not listening to no music. They outside. They're very gone. And when they in, they playing video games and they talking and communicating with each other. And the only time they're gonna rap music if it's somebody from their gang
Okay.
or they dissing them, they'll say, "Man, look at this nigga dissing us," and they'll watch their video and threaten them. But most they only listen to somebody they crew. And so if I'm a BD and I'm in O Block and I make a song and it's all showing me as a gang member and showing me from the hood, off the top I get 75, 100, 200, 300 fans.
Mm.
Everybody in O Block, I got a built-in fan base
Mm-hmm.
because they all agree with everything I'm saying. So it's business. They get a built-in fan base. Like when Dude Make, they didn't let the GDs in the door. You know how many GDs listen to that song?
Mm.
It was smart
Right.
because BDs was getting in all the time. BDs was the ones getting all the record deals. So he said they didn't let the GDs in the door. It wasn't a gangbanging song. It was saying now some GDs is making music.
Wow. So that's where your real rivalry's there.
It's a rivalry there go way back to David Barksdale and Larry Hoover. That rivalry is old.
Now, is there a chance that Larry's getting out?
He could.
And if so, Do you think that he can make a difference as far as stopping some of the stuff, or either making things a little bit more better?
Absolutely not.
They'll laugh at him.
They wouldn't laugh at him, but these shorties is renegades now.
Okay.
Okay, so we got gangs here that's like 5 different gangs. We got like different stuff here. They call themselves different stuff like No Limit. Like No Limit, they say not no gang, but that's because they ain't one particular gang. Like these shorties got new stuff. And typically they don't like old people.
Jeez.
Like,
So I have no chance visiting my relatives in Chicago, huh?
yeah, you visit them, you be fine on the block because the shorties and your relatives, the shorties, they gonna fuck with you because who your relatives are.
Okay.
You come out with the young dudes on the block, then all they friends, they gonna fuck with you. They don't just hate you like that, but they don't really, you gotta understand, if I go out in Chicago and I'm trying to teach some youth something, I'm talking to a youth that hate his daddy because his daddy wasn't never there. So now, the only person they could take that hate out on is me. Because they got hate older men because there was no older men in their life. So how I'm gonna come up and try to be like a daddy to somebody that hate their daddy?
That's what I'm going through as a black teacher.
These young men, they hate their daddy wasn't there. Their daddy was in prison or abandoned them and maybe didn't get along with the mama, whatever the case, but they don't like older men. I get it all the time on social media. They're like, you old dudes this and you old dudes that. That's why we don't like you old dudes. People say that to me all the time.
Now before you go, I did definitely push the fact that a lot of the young dudes do a lot of like real hateful thoughts to older guys, like "I hate you, old N-word," blah blah blah.
Mm-hmm.
And you were saying that you got to be careful when you say that because that almost assure you with the creator or the universe that you won't make it this far as I got.
Right. So time creates certain things. So for the young guys that's coming up, what they don't understand, I'm born in 1958. My father born in 1931. So now my father's generation ain't equipped to deal with them. My generation is. So every generation that's in here, we built for this. So my generation is built for them, however they want to do it. So I keep trying to tell these shorties, stop mixing me up with my daddy. My daddy not gonna do you like I'm gonna do you. So don't mix me up with my daddy. You know what I'm saying? Because if you don't like me, I don't like you either, little. You know, mutual punk. You know, so don't mix me up with my daddy like you got it messed up. The older generation now, we birthed everything that they doing. It's like 70 something. I'm only 65. Everything they doing comes from my generation. We the one put it out there like that, and it just expanded, and it all comes from poverty. See, nobody wants to deal. The problems in the black community come from poverty. The reason the Mexicans are doing better because they are linked to Mexico. The reason the Chinese are doing better, they are linked to China. The reason the Italians do better, they linked to it. We're not linked to Africa. So you can't compare us with other nationalities because we just here by ourselves. We don't have no nation to back us up. If Africa backed us up, we wouldn't be in this. Africa don't back us up. We the only people in this country that's on our own. Irish is hooked up to Irish. When I went to school with white kids, they were still going to Europe to visit their great-grandfather's brother. When great-grandfather came here and left his brother there, they still know their great-grandfather brother's family.
Right.
We don't know none of that. So when people try to compare us to other nationalities, that's not fair. How can we be like Chinese? We can't get nothing from Africa. Chinese get all kind of stuff from China. Koreans get all kind of stuff from Korea. We don't get, we don't know.
Yeah. I hear you.
But it's not hopeless. The youth, they'll be all right. Times change. And when a bunch of them come that want to hear woke stuff, the music will turn woke. It's always been like that. If they wanted to hear blues, we gave them blues. If they wanted to hear jazz, we gave them jazz. If they wanted to hear funk, we gave them funk. If they want to hear trap, well, we're going to give them whatever comes. And a group of youth to come, and they'll be totally different than these youth. That's how black people are.
Uh-huh.
We'll have a bunch of kids, they won't be nothing like these people. They'll all be like something. They'll come out of nowhere.
Wow.
They'll just come out of nowhere. And then you'll have to make the music they want to hear. And all the rappers will come out of their group. So the rappers will make the music based out of the group they come out of.
Man.
They made the music based off of the people they grew up with.
Yeah.
And these people grow up with street and drug dealers and all that and gangs, but eventually you have a different group of kids born and they will be nothing like the last generation. And everybody will know where these kids came from. Black people are. We'll have a whole different kids on something totally different. Really, it's already happening. We got kids now, they on something different. They're not really with that drill and gang stuff. We got a lot of them.
Yeah, I interviewed a few of my
they just don't make music. They don't make music.
They're definitely on some different frequency, and
yeah.
I played some of my interview back to some, my live stream, and I think people have to reprocess what they're saying about the youth.
Yeah, they don't make music, so that's the only difference. They got other things going on besides the music, and they haven't learned how to package positive music. It's a way. You can't just rap positive. You got to package it.
Yeah, they're critics. A lot of them are critics.
Packaged it based on that time period, so that's why it's sold. But you can't package it like 1980. You have to, or 1990. You have to package it based on 2024. So I always say, conscious rappers, why do they keep rapping on conscious beats? Why? Just because you conscious, why don't you rap on a drill beat or a trap beat? Duh.
That makes sense.
Right. So I would like to get some conscious rappers and show them how to get on there with the same beat. So when the kids hear it, it sounds like the same music and just say something different. They'll buy it. But every time you're a conscious rapper, you go get a weirdo beat.
Right.
And it's like, bro, make sure the DJ can play the, see, when it comes to music, for young people that's into music, you have to make sure that the DJ can play your record behind the other record. If you want to be popular, you have to make sure that when I'm playing a record, that you give me a record that when I put it on, it won't break the tempo in the sound. If that beat and that tempo is the same, you could be saying anything on that record.
Okay. Or even they can take your acapella and put it on a drill.
No, but you have your own original beat or you're not gonna make it. Why would I like you when this guy got his own beat and his own lyrics?
Remember Kill That Will?
Yeah.
I think not Kill That Will, Jacket for Beats. I'm sorry.
Yeah, Jacket for Beats, right.
He proved that because all those songs they used were East Coast.
Right.
But it still matched.
Right. But then he wasn't able to break through like a Dirk or a G Herbo or a Future or 21 Savage because you gotta be original. So you got original beat nobody used, Make it just like the beats everybody use and just change your lyrics on it. Just make your lyrics positive lyrics on the same beat. And it'll blow right through the roof. Nobody conscious is doing that. Every time they make a conscious record, it's on a weirdo beat. I don't get that.
Yeah, because it seemed like, I don't know, it seemed like a lot of, I don't know, I haven't heard much lately, but what I have heard, it seemed like they still trying to follow that blueprint of having an R&B hook or something, or some kind of singing in there.
Stuck in the past, and when you're doing music, it's always futuristic.
Yeah, I know other type of rap, they don't do that.
We call it old ears. So me, I'm in the music business, so I don't listen to old music. It'll mess my ears up.
Okay.
In order for me to produce young artists, I gotta listen to the music out today.
Right.
So that I have it's a certain vibe. Like when you first listen to it, you ain't gonna like it because your ears are messed up. But when you keep listening to it, you're like, oh, I get it. That's where the concert come in at. If some of you older people would go to those concerts, you'll get it. You'll understand when you see the kids who show you the tempo, they'll show you why they like it. And you'll be like, I get it. Look, they love this shit. They know every lyric. Like when I went to see Jay-Z, people knew every lyric. This was back in the 90s, early 2000s. Everybody knew every lyric. When I went to see Dirk, everybody knew every lyric. The kids, I didn't know the lyrics, but the kids knew every word he was saying.
And it kind of helps you to keep up with it because, okay, you're not familiar with the song, but the fact of how they're reacting when the song comes on, like,
the tempo, the way they're moving, the way they're dancing. See, music is you take the beat in the music and you think about it, then you put it on your instrument, then it travels through the air, and then when people dance, that's a physical representation of what you thought of in your head.
I have an example. Remember, I think James Brown's live album. He had a lot of them, but one of them was a Revolution of the Mind live album.
Right.
It was in like he had like bars or something.
Right.
But the song New Day.
Right.
When they introduced him when he was coming out.
Right.
They had the guitar playing and the horns, jumping in. And all of a sudden, the beat came in, and everybody just went. They started screaming, and when I first heard it, I was like, my head was bumping, and I didn't even know what I was listening to. But I'm like, I got into it because the crowd.
Right. When you make music, if you're young, you watch me. You got to make music that your mom and daddy don't like. That's just Black history.
Yeah.
If your mom and daddy like it, you whack.
I got a funny story for you. You remember Funky Drummer?
Yeah.
I have Funky Drummer. That's one of my mom had that song, right? Because I tried to DJ, but I got one of her albums. I was playing it. She said, "Cut that rap music down. Cut that junk off." I said, "Mom, that's your record."
Yep. Like when I was coming up, my parents was a little cool because people hated on their music and people hated on Marvin Gaye and them. So they didn't really like our music, but they liked to see us having fun on it. So they didn't really care about the music. All they wanted to see was us dance. They just wanted to see us dance to it. They don't care what it was. So that's why I was such a great DJ, because I knew how to play records my grandmother liked. I knew the difference between the songs my grandmother liked, the songs my mother liked, the songs my father liked, and the songs I liked. I knew the difference.
Mm-hmm.
Anytime I was DJing for an older crowd, I only played what they like. I never played what I like.
Mm-hmm.
But there's always a generation gap. Like my daughter's in her young 20s. My daughter hates Jeezy and 50 Cent. She hates them because that's like old people to them. Right. And I one time when I lived in O Block, I was at home. My kids went to Simeon with Derrick Rose. And I remember my kids coming in the house and saying, listen to this, listen to this, listen to this. And they played this song, Soldier Boy, I tell them, watch me, you. It sounded crazy, right? And they were jumping all around. And I was like, I guess so. But they was trying to hear me what's going on. So that night I went to the gas station to get some water. A car was up, Soldier Boy. Another car playing Soldier Boy. Another car playing Soldier Boy. I'm like, wow. And so the kids put you up on what's the new sound. You're not really supposed to really like it or even know what it is. You have to adapt to it. But if you listen to it and don't be so prejudiced, you'll pick up what they hear. So your mentality got to be, well, let me listen to this to see why y'all like it. Okay, I get it. I see why y'all like it. Okay, cool. Then it must be good. In music, if the crowd like it, it's good. Period.
I did that with my son. And it was so many F bombs, H bomb, all that stuff. And I'm like, son, it's what you listen to? He said, well, there's a clean version. I said, why I gotta be a clean version?
So no matter how much money I put into a song, if the crowd might not go for it,
Mm-hmm.
they think that the record labels make people listen to songs. No. The record labels take a lot of L's. Record labels lose millions. Record labels invest in a lot of artists that flop.
Mm-hmm.
Record labels get a bad rap. Most artists flop.
Mm-hmm.
Lose millions on artists that don't go nowhere. So
Mm-hmm.
this record labels is robbing people. Black people say this because black people don't invest.
Yeah.
It's not fair to talk about the music business if you don't get in it and invest in it. Then you'll see.
Right.
Every artist you invest in ain't gonna necessarily pop off because they got to get the fans to like it. If the fans don't like it, it's a wrap.
Yeah, that's true.
Beyonce and them said their worst song was Bootylicious. They hated it.
then all of a sudden,
The crowd liked
right.
it. And you don't know what song they're gonna like. When you make songs as an artist, you have no idea which one the crowd is gonna like.
And I think that's art in general, right?
Yeah, art in general. Yep. That's
A lot of
just
stuff I draw, I'm like,
yeah.
I want to throw away. No, that's the best thing ever. But I was like, what?
Yeah. Yeah, you can't really tell because the beauty's in the eye of the beholder.
Right.
And so the big complaint about the music, that whole thing that somebody came and decided, the thing that you played about the gangster rap, I want to get back to that. The reason that's fake, because the timing would have been off. What he was saying would have applied to like 2005 or 6. That would not have applied in 91 when all the money was going to go into R. Kelly and Alicia Keys and them. It's like, okay, rap was not that big the way they tried to. Was not. Rap was not big in the early 90s. Rap did really big until 2000 and something. Rap was secondary. Rap was competing with Prince and Michael Jackson and Anita Baker. Come on. Why they try to pretend like rap was that big? No, rap was something that went on Rap City the Basement for the kids for a couple hours, and then we're back to Video Soul. Video Soul, Video P, Video Vibrations, and Rap City.
Yeah.
And Rap City songs got the least amount of play.
It was Yo MTV too, right? Yo MTV Raps.
MTV only had Yo MTV Rap, but everybody got the most play was the R&B people. And the only songs that black people played in their car was the ones that had the R&B flavor. So rap was something that you watched at first. Really wasn't nothing that you played in the car. When you got in the car, if you played a rap song, you would play All I Want to Do Is Zoom, 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 and the Pom Pom. The songs that had an R&B feel. because rap was trying to adapt to R&B. So when you're a conscious rappers saying that gangster rappers replaced them, they lying. R&B replaced them.
Okay.
They could not compare with the R&B. And the smart rappers like Tupac and them did songs with the Jodeci, did songs with the Danny Boys, started getting singers on their song in order to compete with R&B. And that's why Puffy was so popular, because Puffy mixed his tour with 112 and Faith.
Right.
The only reason he was able to get those big tours, because they had banned those big tours back when all them people got killed with the Heavy D show and all the scandals with Run DMC and all that. They had banned rap concerts. Until Puff came out and made it where there was a rapper on the show, but it really wasn't a rap tour. It was a bad boy tour. He was smart. And I didn't read it, but I had 100 R&B singers that was out in the 90s, and they ran music in the 90s. R&B ran music. Don't walk away, boy. I'll be right. That was the songs ran everything. Rap didn't run nothing.
Yeah, that's true.
It's a fact. Jodeci and all them, H-Town and all them. Let me lick you up and down till you say stop. That was bigger than any rap song.
Yeah.
Fact.
I think people were in their own little world and assume that that's what everybody else is listening to.
Well, most people ain't music experts.
Oh,
Like, I'm a music historian. I remember. And the biggest music in the 90s was R&B.
yeah.
R&B was running everything. But we had so many black bands. I can't even name all the black vocal groups. It was a lot of them. They was all good too.
Yeah.
They could sing.
Yeah.
And they could sing. Ooh, it was a lot of them.
Yeah, I talk about that all the time. And rest in peace to Bernard Wright. But the other thing that I don't think people talk about, lately enough, but it does come to mind with some of these shootings.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think that what's that guy's name? DJ Vlad has anything to do with it? According to his interviews, how he starts things and have people say there's certain things. You think they start or kind of fan the flames and every now and then?
Kind of, but these rappers, they be dissing the dead and shit. Like they be like, roll your dead homie up in a blunt and all that. We smoking. You know, they be like when you die, like when the brother got killed the other day, I don't want to say no name, but when the brother in Chicago got killed the other day, the other brother celebrated right on the internet.
Damn.
Like the disrespect is through the roof. Like people don't understand, like they really is warned for real, like for real, like on the internet and off the internet. So that's why the police getting all these indictments. These is young black men, and they warn for real. They hate each other for real.
And these are people from what, 14 to 30, or?
Yeah, these are people from shit like, well, shit, eight to about 30, 35. Because if I'm on the block, I got little 8, 9 years old with guns riding around on their bike. They be the security. I could get an 8 shoot you. Easy.
And we're going to safely. I mean, it's safe to say that the reason why we put the 30s in there is probably because the life expectancy.
Well, it really go up to the violence, and the violent people in the black community go up to about 67.
Okay.
It go from like 8 to 67, but the main most violent ones is like maybe 12, 13 to like 65, like my age. Like you can't come to Chicago and play with like nobody 60, 65. You'll get shot. For real.
And it's pretty much, for people in the chat, appreciate people in the chat sticking around. But this is pretty much what we are witnessing. We either, I guess, hear the news of people getting shot.
It's blown out of proportion. Okay, like Chicago, over the weekend, I think like 37 got shot, maybe 9 got killed, right?
Mhm.
Now, what people don't understand is I could take 4 cities in America and fit them inside Chicago. So Chicago doesn't make the murder list as the top murders because it's per capita. Nobody takes in consideration how big this city is. It's like a state. So it's when they say a lot of people getting shot in Chicago, comparatively speaking, this is 4 cities.
Mhm.
So divide that by 4.
That's kind of big.
So they don't consider, because we could take a city, I could put a city in America on the west side. These cities will fit on the west side, like some of y'all cities will fit on the west side. Another one of y'all cities will fit on the north side.
Mhm.
We could put a city on the south side. So we can get at least 3.5 cities in Chicago. So it's overhyped how many people get shot because nobody considering how big the place is. To the point where you live here, you don't even know nobody got shot.
Right.
Like that was way over there. It's like 77 neighborhoods, and all the shooting is in like 8, 9 neighborhoods.
So, for example, how long would it take to drive from one side of Chicago to the other side, like to the very end?
If it ain't rush hour, if you was driving from the farthest south side to the north side, that take you about 45 minutes or so on the freeway.
Okay.
Maybe almost an hour, depending on the traffic. It's a long way.
So it's almost like Los Angeles.
Yeah, it's like Los Angeles with a whole bunch. Nobody have seen the whole city. Los Angeles is huge too. The bus get on the freeway out there sometime.
Right.
So real big, so you can fit a couple cities in LA. So it ain't really fair to just take the murder rate and not consider the size of the city.
Mm-hmm.
Take the size of the city, it's not as bad as it seemed like. It's still bad, but if it's 30 people, that's more like 10 people.
Okay.
Which is bad, but it's not like 30. That's because it's huge. Huge. Nobody's seen the whole Chicago. I don't think anybody have ever seen it. I was telling the guy we need to do a documentary, try to see if we could drive down every street, but I don't know how long it would take us to do it.
Now, just like out here, we got LA, Compton, Watts, and South Central. I mean, everywhere.
Yeah, and not even counting the surrounding areas. Like LA, if you count Compton and all that, if you count the surrounding areas, it's 11 million people.
Yeah.
I didn't even count them.
LA is a county, yeah, and a city.
Yeah. I didn't even count like Harvey and all the surrounding areas. Oh man, it's more people than that got shot. I'm just talking about within Chicago city limits. We had 30, 37 shot. I think 9 died.
Now,
And people don't know it's a whole Hispanic neighborhood and they gangbanging. These ain't all black shootings. See, this is how things get.
Yeah, the Latin Kings.
And the other ones, yeah, the other gangs. Yeah, they over there in Little Village. They laying each other down over there. They shoot babies, women, and children too.
So it's pretty much black and black and brown on brown.
It's black on black, brown and brown, and brown on black and shit, depending on what gang you in. And depending how close proximity you live to the other gang. Depends if one of your guys robbed them for some kilos or some pounds. You know how it go.
Right.
You some traveling vice lords that rob some Latin kings. Well, it's on.
Jeez. Yeah. And then is there a church on every corner like out here?
There's a lot of churches everywhere. But it's a lot of people. They need that many churches.
Yeah, because we were talking about that. I think we counted like on Wilmington out there, like in Compton alone on Wilmington.
Hmm.
From for those people that know about LA, we started from Alondra all the way to El Segundo. Between that, just in Compton alone, we counted about like 89 churches.
I support the churches because what happens is we got the people that go to the clubs, we got the people that gang bang, we got the people that get drunk and all that. Then on Sunday, we got a lot of the good people. They got to have somewhere to go to. So on Sunday, a lot of the people that don't do all that other stuff, they go to church. That's their club. That's what
The point I'm making is that the most, usually wherever there is violence, there's lots of churches.
well, there's lots of churches, whether it's violence or not, because there's people that want to go do something positive in life. I'm not like the typical black conscious people that don't like churches, and I'm gonna tell you why. One Sunday morning, I got up and somebody stole my catalytic converter off my wife's car. They did that late Saturday night. So we get up Sunday morning, start the car. Bah, 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 bah. Well, somebody went under there and stole the catalytic converter. So now I start seeing all the neighbors getting ready to go out and go to church. And I told my wife, they didn't steal it. Whoever stole this Cadillac converter need to go to church. Because why is he up in the middle of the night? He should have been in bed so he can go to church. So the church people ain't shooting everybody. So black people complain about the church, but if you're a black man, you come in and get shot, it ain't gonna be by no church member. It's gonna be by a nigga that don't never go to church. That's a fact.
I'm just wondering how come they're not utilizing the church like they used to back then to help address some of these. I know some churches are, especially out here. There are some churches that stuff like just for example, they got T-shirts that say uh, "Don't kill for Jesus" or something. Just throwing that out there. They
Right.
got campaigns.
Because the churches, with the inflation, the churches is catching hell just paying their bills. Black folks think church is free. They think the gas is just on and the lights is just on. No, the church got bills to pay.
Right.
The church is busy maintaining the church. That's not easy to keep the church open, to keep the church secure, to keep the windows done, and to keep it nice for the parishioners. That costs money.
Somebody in the chat said he's in Chicago in the Wild 100s.
They say they're from the Wild Hundreds.
That's Broke Genius. That's what he put out there.
Yeah, tell them what up, fam. I'm from 116 from Aberdeen. Wild Hundreds all day. When I was young, that was Lynchman, Suricon Gangsters was out there. So I'm from the Wild Hundreds, so I'm gonna say what up.
Okay, so we're winding down here. So I'm gonna go ahead and guess put in my father and husband role.
Okay.
So you got any last things you want to plug for us before you head on out?
No, just everybody be positive and try to think positive and just do the best you can. Eat right, take care of yourself, and don't let the problems you see really overwhelm you and make you think it's worse than what it really is. It's bad, but also remember that because of the pandemic, people haven't been socialized, so the violence is going to increase. Not just with black people, with everybody. Domestic cases, nut jobs. You're going to see more mass shootings. You're going to see more violence from the mental illness from everybody being locked out from 2 years. So just slow down. Don't do no lot of hanging out. Just, do family stuff. Go horseback riding or bike riding, but stay out of crowds and get ready because the violence is going to increase on every scale. They can't even report how many mass shootings is going on. That's how many people getting shot. And don't argue with nobody. Don't get into nothing. Ladies, if you break up with your boyfriend or your husband, do it nicely because he could snap right now, and secure yourself, because the violence is going to increase for a while. It might stop next year, but it's definitely going to be extremely violent from now through January.
I would definitely like you to come back and talk about a vegan lifestyle, how that definitely aids in your mental capacity.
Okay, hook it up, brother. Whenever you're ready, just let me know. We'll set up time. I'll come anytime, all right?
What I want to do, I'm gonna buy your book. I want to go over your book so I can go, item by item. But I
Okay.
want you to be inspired to buy your book.
Yeah, it's a manual, and it shows you how to go step by step so that you can do it, because you can't just go vegan. It's too difficult.
Right.
Got a way where you can't fail. You go step by step and eat right and take care of yourself, because that's all you can do right now is make sure you don't get cancer, make sure you don't kill yourself. You don't want nobody else to kill you, and you also don't want to kill yourself. So stay up, and bro, send me your Cash App, because I want to pay you for that artwork. My son, he got some other artwork, but I still want to pay you for the work you did. So send me your Cash App and how much you want to pay you for that.
Oh, most definitely. And yeah, hopefully he could use it for something else.
Yeah, he moved to Florida, so that's why we was all over the place. He was in the transition of moving, so that's a whole other thing. We'll talk about that.
Not a problem. But definitely, whenever you got some time, or we got a coordinated time, then I'm gonna get that book, and
Okay.
then hopefully get some photographs too, because
Okay.
this is you.
We'll make that happen. And my son is a hip hop artist, and it's really hard for him because he don't gangbang. So we working hard. It's hard to find a niche.
Well, we need to promote him here. If you can send me his
That's
information.
his information. So we working hard. He don't gangbang. He's a school kid. He's a good kid. He's never been in the streets, and that's what I'm saying. I wouldn't force him to rap something that he don't do. So whatever he is, I want him to do the best on his music. And if I get somebody else's son that come from a hard life, I want him to say whatever he says. It's not for me to change their art form or their opinion based on how they live. I have to deal with it, but then they do have to sell records, so they gotta appeal to the girls. So if you're a young rapper and you're a male or female, you must appeal to the ladies. Deuces.
Okay, I might be able to. I think Lonzo could help your son out in that situation.
Okay, yeah,
He's still doing the business.
that's good. Hook it up.
All right, so appreciate everybody out here. Thank you guys for supporting. And again, before we go, hit the like button, even if you're what do you call it, listening to the back stream, and also subscribe to Brother Pharaoh's channel. It's everything that you need to see or use is in the description box. I got to put the vegan. I didn't put the vegan manual in there. Gosh. Okay. So.
Yeah, so Lonzo, keep doing your thing, man. I enjoyed that. You was hitting the nail on the head, bro.
I know we enjoyed it, man.
All right, one.
All right. Take care, y'all. Peace and